Sound effects. With us today is Bethany Burr. How are you?
Hey, Jeremy, how are you doing? I'm doing great.
I'm doing fine. Yeah, you've had a hectic, busy day. It's not like
Yes.
from the email I got. That's pretty crazy. So to let some people know, we met at HomebrewCon through a mutual friend, Dennis from Cityscape Brewing. Gotta give him a shout out, right? This is my first time going to any HomebrewCon. And I had to go because it was only like an hour away from me, so it was like a no-brainer to go. Right, it's just over the mountain for me.
No excuse. Yeah.
Ho Yeah, no excuse. So was this your first, or have you gone to many?
Nope. This is my third. So I went
Okay.
to Providence in 2019 was my first one. And then I went to San Diego in 23. And then I
Wow.
went to Asheville this year. So I've missed they didn't do the 2020 and 2021 for COVID. And I want to say 2022 was I think in Pennsylvania. And
Sounds right, yeah.
I didn't make that one, I think I was traveling or something, and then 24, 25 didn't happen, so, yeah.
Mhm.
So I've only missed one since I started going, but,
There you
they are
go, yeah.
so fun and so educational, and I am a huge nerd, so it's like, "Oh, let me learn about my hobbies, sign me up."
Right. So I was gonna be like my next question, like, so what kind of experience did you get from this?
So
Like, what talks actually can stand out, I guess, is a better question to ask. Hi, Jeremy here. Did you know it only takes a few seconds to like, comment, and subscribe? It's the biggest way you can support the podcast, and it's free.
so, a little bit about me to answer that.
Sure.
So I am the president of the Carolina Brewmasters out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Homebrew Club, and then I'm also the president of the Charlotte Beer Babes, which is a women's craft beer group. And one of them is homebrew. One of them I do one homebrew event a year, but for the most part, we go out to breweries and we just kind of support them, and we
Okay.
drink flights usually, or sample and just nerd out about beer. So it's all about nerding out about beer, and because of those 2 things, I went and did the officer boot camp on Thursday that they offered from the AHA.
Yeah.
And so that was really informative. That was really helpful. It was probably 70 people, 80 people in there
Holy crap.
minimum. It might have been way more than that. Um, that were all different officers and board members from all
Hmm.
different clubs across the country and also the world, because there were a couple people in that session that were from other countries. And it was really cool. We had, Drew Beecham kinda leading that, walking us through stuff, and then it was one of those, "Let's fix world peace in 20 minutes." So, we got into groups of 10 and everybody starts talking, and a bunch of us ended up meeting each other and connecting and, just like you and I connected, we all connected. We're gonna do other stuff going forward together, partner, just kinda bounce ideas off each other. So that was how I started my HomebrewCon this year on Thursday, and that
Awesome.
was like,
Yeah.
"All right, we're starting high here." Um, like, this was awesome. It was about 2 hours. Um it was fantastic, and every club is different, every club is run different. Cities versus smaller towns versus areas that have a lot of breweries, areas that don't have, and then you also get into the different state issues with, local laws around alcohol and homebrew in North Carolina, where you and I are both at. Little special with some of the alcohol laws. We've got, like a lot of the Southeast, we've got some archaic laws around alcohol still
Mhm.
on the books. So, it was really cool to just hear, okay, no, it's not just us. It's not just even the Southeast. Like, everybody's having different types of challenges. It's not just us. Everybody, unfortunately, home brewing is and just beer drinking in general is a bit on the decline. And it's a math equation. It's a sign. So, has its ups and its downs like anything, and we're in a little bit of a down right now, but
That's
that's
a little
okay.
bit more, yeah.
So, just getting that information was super awesome coming out of HomebrewCon, and then I did a bunch of education sessions on just different topics like hops and I didn't do anything on gluten-free this time, but I've done gluten-free presentations in the past. We did, one of the sessions was on, how do you do, like, events with your club, which I thought I've done a
Mhm.
ton of events with our club, and with beer babes, that's pretty much all I do. And so, like, that was just kind of cool to see a different perspective and just get different information out of it. And then, oh my goodness. I mean, there's
I
been
know it was so fast, right?
it was so fast. It was so much.
Yeah,
I mean, we did club night, we did
yeah,
knockout party. There were a few
hmm
beers drank.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
the knowledge is in there. It's just the order of operations that we did it in. It's a little fuzzy, but no,
Yeah.
we had so much fun. And being in Charlotte, North Carolina, 2.5 hours, we have a club bar that we bring when
Mm,
we can drive. And so for club night, we had 10 taps at this beautiful bar that some of our former members who have since passed away built. And it's in beautiful condition. It was really cool, but it was kind of funny because I'm 5'3".
mhm.
And so if you were watching this and you were at HomebrewCon club night and I did this to you, my apologies. But I could do this standing and be resting on the bar. And so we had iPads on either end that were up with our tap list.
Mm,
And I
mhm.
was like this right behind. So I'd be like, hey, what can I get you? And I would accidentally jump scare who was looking at the list. So little tickled me a little bit. So sorry if I did that to you
Yeah.
on accident. It wasn't intentional, but I did get a little chuckle out of it every single time. But so we had the span of, getting really serious on the board and the officer stuff all the way to doing club night and accidentally jump scaring people and tasting all these delicious beers. So like for me, HomebrewCon was it was fantastic, just like always. How did you find your first HomebrewCon? What'd you do?
Yeah, so I arrived on Thursday as well. I went straight to Sierra Nevada before I did anything. That's been on my bucket list to hit. I'm actually in Tennessee, so I'm not in North Carolina. I'm
Oh,
on the
that's
other side of
great.
the
That's
mountain.
great.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's still not far. So I drove all the way. So instead of being an hour and a half drive, it took me 2.5 hours to get there because there was construction on 26. I get off at 26. I take some back way, and it's all backed up to all out. So my tour was at 3:30. I missed that. I got there at 4. Then I
No.
talked to the lady. I was like, "Hey, is there a way I can get on the 4:30 tour?" I was in traffic. She's like, "Are you Jeremy?" I was like, "Yes, I am." She's like, "Oh yeah, you can get on, no problem." So I got on, and then I felt bad. The guy behind me, who walked in maybe 5 seconds after I did, was like, "Hey, is there any room?" He's like, "Nope, it's all full." Well,
I mean, to
but
be fair,
I
you
already
had been
paid.
on the spot already, so,
Yeah, I
like
already paid. So that was awesome. First time being there, I had a blast. I did the tour. I drank a couple beers. I ate really crazy pizza that the chef. It was like the chef special. Had like potatoes on it. So weird, but it was so good though. And then I went checked in. Then I met up with you guys at Dissolvers, right? I think it
yeah,
was called, or Devolver, one of the two.
dissolver, yep.
And then like I got up early on Friday because I still had the check-in. So I was up there at 8, did all this stuff. So I walked the floor to see where all the rooms were. I'm anal about that stuff. I hate being late. If I'm late, I don't even want to go. That's just how I am. So I knew where everything was. I had a spreadsheet. It's getting how nerdy I was. I had a spreadsheet for all the talks I wanted to go to. Kids one's full. I had other backs up. So
Had
the first
twins.
one that I remember is the low ABV beer one, which
Mhm.
was I thought was great. So I pondered like making low ABV beers. I didn't want to look up any recipes. I just want to think about it and went through the process in my head for a while. So well, let's see what this guy has. Like, because you I mean, yes, you can just add more water. You can thin out the beer, but then you just got thin beer that probably doesn't taste well. But he actually listed his recipes, and of course I don't remember them now, but remember him listing a lot of extra grains in there to give more body or mouthfeel or
All the
color or
specialties, yep.
whatever. So yeah, but it wasn't much. It was like a quarter ounce of this and ounce of that, whatever. Very very little amounts. Um, After that, it's kind of a blur because I went to session after session after session. The next
Same.
thing was the expo. I was like, holy crap, this sucks. The expo was like, what was it saying? Like, it felt like the bulk of the crowd was there. By 800 people was already waiting just to go into the expo. And like, I waited. I couldn't deal with the crowd. They went in, they grabbed everything they wanted. Then of course, club night was fun. I think I bumped into you again as well at your guys' spot. Tried to cut a couple of beers, and yeah, a lot. Every beer I had was great. No, I lied. There was one I couldn't drink. I don't remember what it was now, but I took a sip of it. And it was just didn't taste right to me, so I just dumped it. And I was like, I'm not. Yeah, I'm done. And
That hap
then yeah, it happened. Oh, well, yeah, because we used to have a Hoppy Possum up in Bristol, Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sadly, that's not around no more. Gavin decided to retire from that gig, but yeah, I had no problem. Like that taught me a long time ago to just dump beer. I mean, and they don't care. They understand it's not for everybody. But then Friday was like, it was just a blur because things I know it's like it's 2:15 and you're done. Like all the talks are done. You're like, holy crap. Okay, what am I gonna do now? Because the party wasn't until 7?
5:30?
Yeah,
I think
5:30, that's when it started. It got done at 7, that's what it
yeah.
was. Then you had the knockout party after that, yeah. So I just walked around Asheville, because I go me and the wife go there quite often, but we just drive everywhere. It's the first time I actually got to walk. But I
It's
learned
such
to
a
love
beautiful city,
what it is. So very pretty city, yep.
and it's gorgeous, but I will tell you those hills try to kill me every time.
So, yeah, so I walked
Oh
from
my
I would
god.
say I stayed at the Renaissance. That's where I was at.
Okay.
So I walked to Asheville Brewing Company, which is probably
That's
15,
so
16
slow.
minute walk. Yep,
Yeah,
so I'll slope.
that's
I
a
went
hike.
there and I thought, because I couldn't remember if I was ever been there or not, but I have. I went there and I tried their low ABV beer, and it tasted like, to me, it tastes like a seltzer. Like it's highly overcarbonated, kind of burn the throat a little bit with the, get the carbonic acid and all that kind of stuff. Then I was like, oh, how far away is Burial? 'Cause I love Burial. That's where I would go there every time I come in town. So I walked to Burial, went there, I took a couple samples, bought 2 6 packs. I was like, all right, I'm going to go back. And it was uphill the whole way. Oh, I thought I was going to die.
Oh my god. There were points where I was just, like, making decisions on, "Is this gonna be uphill or downhill? Is there a different way to get back to the car, to an like, whatever, that does not involve me looking like a drowned rat who's choking,
You're right.
to death?" Like, because that's what I'm like in my head, that's what I looked like. Um, so I'm like, "Ugh, up the hill."
Help me,
Um,
help me.
and Charlotte is relatively flat. So, you get up into the mountains and it's like, it's deceptive how much those will sneak up on you. And then I have asthma that's only triggered by hiking and like incline stuff. And so I'm like, son of a mother, let's go. It's like, oh,
Oh, I
we're
gotta do
gonna do
this
it. We're
now.
gonna do it.
Well,
But
yeah, HomebrewCon was a blast.
it was so much fun. And it's great to see and meet people that you would never have interacted with. I met somebody who's one of the officers and longtime officers in one of the Colorado clubs, and I've never been in the
Hmm,
state of Colorado, so like there's no chance we would have met in person other than HomebrewCon. And she's one of the people that I'm like, hey, let's connect. And we're doing so there's 5 homebrew clubs in the Charlotte metro area. And
wow.
this is president of one of them. I'm president of one, and then there I don't know if you saw the IBU. They had the 2 beer engine polls in that
Mhm.
first row, but they're also like 25 minutes from us. And so the 3 of us and 2 other clubs actually are getting together to do multiple events throughout the year with all of our club members.
Oh,
And
that's
one of the
cool.
things we're doing is a trip to Durham and Raleigh. Oh, actually, I
Mhm.
think it's going to be Raleigh. And we're going to take the train. So we're going to take the Amtrak in, and then
Okay,
everybody's
yeah.
going to join at their stop. Well, I ended up meeting one of the presidents of one of the Durham clubs, and so I was like, "Hey, would you guys wanna join us? You can
Mhm.
you can get on the train in Durham and join us in Raleigh. It's 1 stop. It's like $5 or whatever." And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we might have, a connection from HomebrewCon in the Durham area that
Oh,
wanna
that is
join
so
us.
cool. Yeah.
And I'm like, "That's just cool." Like, when I go to Durham and Raleigh area, I'm not going for homebrew stuff. I might go for a beer
Mhm.
festival, Raleigh Rare Beer
Mm.
Festival's there. But I have friends that are there, so we're going to breweries, but we're not going to homebrew stuff. And
Gotcha, yeah.
so, ended up meeting one of the guys that works at one of the local homebrew shops. He was working with, is it Fermentus? He was with one of the yeasts, and I feel like a jerk because I'm forgetting which yeast it was. Um, I think it was Fermentus, but he partnered up and did a extract, or not an extract, an all grain beer
Mhm.
kit, and
Okay.
it was a strawberry sour.
Hmm.
It was really solid, and I've done kettle sours, but we were talking and they use a specific Cerveza yeast, and I've
Mhm.
never used that. So I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna get it." So I ordered the kit from there. They had a discount for HomebrewCon. And so that's gonna be one of my summer beers that I make is, I'm probably not gonna do strawberry. I'm gonna do a different fruit, but, I'm
Sounds
gonna
good. Yeah.
do a beer that I only know about because I met somebody at
Somebody at
HomebrewCon
HomebrewCon,
who's in
yeah.
Raleigh, Durham.
Right,
So,
yeah.
like, it's so fun.
It
Like
was, yeah, it was a blast.
and, like, you learn a lot,
Mhm.
and I love it because stuff like that is I'm there because I want to be, not because I have to be. It's not my job.
Right, yeah.
Like, those conferences are fun too, but, like, it's kinda cool to just be like, "Hey, I don't I don't need to do, like, all of the, a professional, like, face. I can just have fun. We can drink a beer, we can go out and grab drinks together, and it's
Yep.
like, all right, we're even if we're doing professional stuff as club members, like we're all drinking beer
Yep,
and it's fun.
exactly.
And I love it.
So mine was a dual purpose thing. Like I wanted to go because I've never been, and since I launched this podcast, like I wanted, but it'd be a great way to find more guests, right? So I was doing the professional thing because when like the expo died down, there was hardly anybody in there because they already took all the stuff they wanted. So give me plenty of time to talk to everybody, one-on-one conversations, and overwhelmingly the most bulk of the people I talked to said yes, they're interested. I just had to reach out and contact them. Um, I think Tilt would be interesting. I talked to him.
Yeah.
He seemed interested. Craft a Brew, which is like a newer homebrew supply online store. He seemed interested, but he told me to talk to BC instead. I have talked to BC in the past. I haven't get a chance to interview him because he does like 2 week intervals where I do like monthly. So I have to figure out how.
Okay.
So I think I may reach out to him like on Friday because not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. I have a clearing. Let's see if you'd be interested then. He was like the second person to fill out the form back in November. So like that's how long ago I talked to him. So it's been a while. So I mean, I remember, but yeah, so it was like it was a dual edge. I had a blast. I met a lot of people. It was fun to hang out with like a lot of like the YouTubers as well too. Cause I was the and more kind of invited by Dennis and a few other people. So I wasn't actually part of the YouTubers meetup or whatever it is, but they were exactly the same. Like they're all just they're no different, no different personalities or anything like that. Because sometimes people put on a little bit of a show, and nope, they're exactly who they were. So I love that. That was great.
Well, and it was fun too because you saw had so many different meetups that were
Hmm.
going on. Like Milk the Funk did a meetup.
Yeah.
The the YouTubers did a meetup, and then there was another one, and then there was like an AHA member meetup, and they
Hmm.
just had a bunch of meetups, and like to me that's like fun because people will bring. Luckily, they allowed us to bring in a couple bottles of homebrew to share, so
Hmm.
people were doing that. And North Carolina laws with alcohol that we weren't sure that was going to be possible when we heard who was hosting it and everything. So that was exciting that they were able to get that as a private event. But it was really just cool just to see so many people in each of those groups too. Like I
Hmm.
didn't go to all meetups, but like I walk past as I'm
Oh, it's
going,
hard. Yeah.
up and down those stairs, 75 times between classes.
Oh gosh, yeah. Bottom floor all the way to the top floor, and
Yes, and
walk
it's
around
like,
the edge and stuff like that. It was crazy.
you're only ever gonna go from the top furthest to the lowest furthest away from each other ever, like, with the smallest, like, 5 minutes to get between them. It's like, "Is this high school again? Like, what just happened?"
It's what it felt like. Yeah. So like room 8-9 was like the worst, right? It was like you're in there just the whole time.
Yep. When, the event was a great space, but, I run warm, which is, great being a Michigander living in the South. Even after 25 years, I'm still not used to this humidity. I'm
Well,
just
hold on.
not.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you right there. So you're from Michigan. So
Yes.
is me and my wife and my kids. We're
So
originally
where
from Flint, Michigan.
I was gonna say, you're from Flint. I actually grew up in
Yeah.
Kalamazoo.
Okay. Yeah. So
Like,
you're way over there.
yep. So, yeah, this is how you know you're actually from
Yeah.
Michigan. You pull
Side
your
Parker
hand out as a
Flint.
map.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah,
That
no,
is
so
cool. Cool.
I'm from over here. And,
Yeah.
yeah, so about an hour, 15 minutes from Flint. And, but my parents are both from Detroit, so we would traverse
Mm.
the bottom
Was that
south border.
96 or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, 94, 96,
94.
depending on
Yeah.
which way you go.
Always back up on those things too. Oh man.
Oh, Lord. And, but, it's just I grew up there, and then I came down to Charlotte for college, and I was like, "They shut everything down when it snows? I'm here. I'm planted." And now my parents and my brother are in the area too, so
Okay. There you go. Yep.
I'm like, hey, y'all, they shut stuff down when it snows. Come join." And they're like, "We're on our way."
That's how it
So,
is here too. Yeah. They are. My kids had like, well, they're all grown now, but they had 13 snow days. Just to give you an idea. Like, I had 3 growing up in Flint. And the only time we had a snow day was ice. Like we still went to school when it
yeah.
snowed, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. They didn't care. We still went to school. As long as the roads were plowed, you were going to school. But now I guess, and I think it has to do with like liability insurance. Like, Michigan is just as bad as they are down here. Like they talk about snow, okay, we're done. We're going to cancel it. But I don't know if they've lipped that number or not. But
And I wanna say too, like, I think some of it is also if a bus can't get to any of the stops, that's typically all right, that's a checkbox. We're gonna
Yeah.
cancel or at least delay snow and or a school for snow. But like growing up in Kalamazoo, we got lake effect snow because we were an hour from
Hmm.
South and then Lake
Oh
Michigan.
yeah.
And so we had so much ice some winters. And it was funny because I actually live in Salisbury, outside of Charlotte. So I'm
Hmm.
about 50
Hmm.
minutes outside of Charlotte. But I just moved a couple of years ago. And so last year, like right after I moved in December, that following winter, we got like a little bit of snow. It was like,
Hmm.
an inch. We wouldn't have even mentioned it up in Michigan. This past winter, however, we got like 3 inches of snow or 3 inches of ice. And then it hadn't even completely melted. And then we got, I think, 14 inches of snow by me.
Hmm.
And so I had 14 inches of snow on top of 3 inches of ice. And I'm like, look, ice is an equal opportunity asshat, forgive the language. It hates everybody
Hmm.
equally. It's going to come for you. And let me tell you, the amount of times I busted in my driveway trying to get that ice up. Ooh. Well, I'm so glad nobody was paying attention and watching me. It would have been a free show.
Yeah.
Um, I was just enough outside of my Ring camera doorbell that I did not get evidence, thank you,
Oh.
Jesus, because I did some windmills that were just epic, and, like, my car's there,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to catch my car. It's a smooth hood, what am I trying to catch myself on?
That's
I know better.
hilarious. Yeah.
But, so I brewed a beer
Mhm.
in my
Oh, there you go.
kitchen because
Yeah.
I was like, "With this, I'm brewing a beer, we need it, and I'm not trying to do propane out on the ice because with my luck,
Mhm.
it'll just go whoop,
Yep,
and then
keep
I'll
on
set
going.
something on fire." And I'm like, "We just don't need that." But
That's hilarious.
it's funny you were talking about, the low ABVs. I'm kinda infamous in my club for low ABV beers, not always on purpose, but, if they taste like I want them to, I'm golden. Like,
Well,
if
there you go, yeah.
it's the taste I want, I don't care about the ABV. If it's supposed to be higher, I'll just call it a session version, right? Like, that's
Mhm.
the beauty
Mhm.
of the flexibility of beer styles. Like, and if it's under 4%, it's a session. But I actually one of my favorite beers to make is a Scottish Light, and I brought it to
Mhm.
HomebrewCon. I don't remember if you tried it or not. But I do a Scottish 60, so it's 60 shelling. It's like
Mm.
3.5% is usually what it is. This batch came out at 2%.
Wow.
And it's full bodied, and I use,
Mhm.
sourwood honey at flame out, so it's got
Mhm.
a lot of good flavors to it. Doesn't taste like it's only a 2% beer, but everybody at the end of Knockout was like, "Oh, it's a 2%? Yes, please." Like, let me get some water, thank you."
Yeah, I was definitely gravitated towards a lot of low ABV beer when I was down there, and I think I might get into it myself a little bit because age, right? There's that factor. I'm not getting no younger. I mean, I've drank so much barrel-aged beers, I'm a little burnt out on them. I like them once in a blue. Like, if it's a cold winter night, they're nice to have, and just a good sipper, right? Just kinda warm me up a little bit. But I think for, like, heck, we're 96 degrees here today, like, the beer I just drank was, like, 5%. I probably should have grabbed the other one, it was, like, 3.5.
So,
Oh, you're drinking
I'm
what is that,
drinking
like 7? Right?
it's a hazy little thing from Sierra Nevada,
Yeah.
and it's 6.7%.
6.7. I was close. I was close. I knew it was a little higher. But let me give you a proper introduction. We talked about HomebrewCon, which is great. So, like I said earlier, we're with the Bethany Burr. She's the president of the Charlotte Beer Babes and the Carolina Brewmasters. She works as a technical project management or manager, rather. Sorry, extremely extroverted, if you can't tell. Got into the scene about 2013. Let's see. She has brewed roughly on 20 different systems. I definitely have a question about that later on. She practices party brewing exclusively for 8+ years. Famous house beers is her Scottish Light she just talked about a second ago. She helped brew a pickle beer at a non-defunct nano brewery, Thirsty Nomad, who sadly shut down not too long ago. Let's see. Took first place out of 10 beers in a mini comp with her pale ale. Been judging for 11 years. Currently working on her BJCP certification. Self-proclaimed kegging curse, and we talked about that in HomebrewCon. I think that's an interesting story. We'll talk about it in a little bit. And has a possessed uh, brew kettle. And her hobbies include, like you said, she already brought the word nerd a few different times. Magic the Gathering, beer, history travel, hard rock, metal shows, and reading and movies. Did I miss anything, Bethany?
If we did, we will catch it up in this conversation.
All right, here we go. Okay, so take us back to 2013. How'd you get into volunteering at the Carolina Brewmasters?
So Carolina Brewmasters used to do what at the time was the largest homebrew or beer festival, not just homebrew, beer festival in the Southeast. It was about a 6,000 person beer festival. It was uh, proceeds were going to charity. Um, we donated across the 19 year or hang on, 17 run years of it. We donated $750,000 to charity, local
Wow, good
charities.
job. Yeah.
Our top year, we donated $81,500 across 3 charities.
No,
And then our final
congrats.
year, we did $75,000 across 4 charities in 2017, which was the last year we ran it. But I am a volunteer-holic. I love volunteering. I love a good cause. If you say it's a good cause, I'm like, sign me up. Give me more cases. Before COVID, I was volunteering about 750 hours a year. So yeah, the IRA raise was, yeah, that's what I usually get. And it was across about 50 different charities. So we have a lot of 5Ks in Charlotte, a lot of the big cities do. And so I would be volunteering at 5Ks. That was how I would go and learn about different charities. And I was looking at volunteer calendars in our local community, and I saw that they needed some people for the Charlotte Oktoberfest Beer Festival. And I'm like, hey, this sounds fun. And friends of mine and I had done it the year before in 2012. So I was like, you know what? That was a fun one to attend. I hadn't ever volunteered at a beer festival before at that point. So I was like, well, let me try it. Let me see what this is about. And the rest is history, as they say in a way. So had a lot of fun, ended up volunteering in their hospitality, helping with the food service. And then the next year I came back, and in 2014, I wanted to volunteer as a hospitality captain. And the only way they would let you volunteer as a captain as a leadership position was if you were a club member. So I was like, well, here's my, I think it was $25 to join the club at the
Right.
time. Here's my $25 for the year. Sign me up to volunteer. Again, nerd, volunteer-holic.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun, met some really great people that I'm still very good friends with. And then the next year I got asked to be on the committee that ran the festival. So I did marketing and some sponsorship stuff. And then in 2017, I actually ran it as festival director.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, I went, whoop, which is very par for the course for me and volunteering. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah, there we go. So it is how I also got into homebrewing more. But it was, I think, 2 years that I was a paid member of a homebrew club before I actually brewed a beer.
Okay. All right. So I guess that leads me to my next question. What was your first batch that you brewed?
So my first batch that I brewed
Yeah.
was actually with my Charlotte Beer Babes group that I run,
Okay.
which took over in December of 2013, so around the same time frame. And in 2015, we did our first, I want to say it was 2015. Might have been 2014. So Lisa, if you're watching, I apologize if I got the year wrong. But one of our Carolina Brewmasters members, who was a former president of Charlotte Oktoberfest, had reached out and was like, I want to get more women into beer. You run a women's craft beer group. Can we do an event where we have mentors come in, bring their equipment out to a brewery? Noda Brewing Company was in their original location. They were smaller at the time, much larger now. And we would set up 9 or 10 systems on the blacktop, and in the middle of usually May or June. If you're not from the area, that means it's really, really
You're
hot.
hot.
Really hot on blacktop with
Yeah.
propane going on like 9 different burners in a pretty small space. It was so much fun, but like you sweat through your clothes in the first 15 minutes after you got out of that car. And the propane got turned on. But we had so much fun. And so my first beer was actually through that event. I was a mentee, and 2 others and I got together and we made a beer. And I want to say my first one was a peach Kolsch.
Okay. Ooh.
So, and for that event, we always do extract kits because you
Mm-hmm.
need less equipment to bring out for our
Yeah.
mentors. There's less to clean up for our mentees. Use the equipment, buy their
Mm-hmm.
ingredients and their fermentation, but they clean everything for the mentors because that's
Right.
a thank you for letting us use your equipment type of thing. And it shows everybody. I mean, honestly, if you homebrew, you're basically a glorified janitor when you're doing that. So like it really lets it sink in like, hey, there is a lot of cleaning and you think you're done and like, nope, now you're just in level 2 of cleaning. So like we want people to get the full immersion experience so that they're not coming in, blindsided and doing infected beers on accident and not sure why.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to really with that event, and we do it once a year. We tried really hard to get everybody like the full picture, but we do it with extract, and so it's technically partial mash. We usually have like a pound and a half of
Oh, like some
grains in there.
steeping grains. Yeah.
Yeah, for steeping. And we've had people that are professional brewers who are mentors. We've had homebrewers. We've had people who professional brewer, home brewer meet at the event, and
Mm-hmm.
then they both become professional brewers because they meet at that event, and then like you and I, doing this after we met, they now work at the brewery together. So, we've had a
That's
lot
so
of
cool.
fun connections like that. So it's really cool. But like to the first event ever for brewing wasn't on a system that I had. It wasn't at a person's house. It was at a brewery in a parking lot on borrowed equipment. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do any other type of brewing other than partner brewing on other people's equipment for like 8 years.
Yeah, so I actually leads me into my next topic that I have right here. Talk about the 8 years of no equipment, basically.
Yep. I had fermentation equipment.
Okay. So you were fermenting at your own house, so you would
Yeah.
just take the wort with you and all
And
that
I had
kind of
all the
stuff.
bottling equipment because we would bottle with that event
Gotcha.
because most people, if you're not getting into beer for sure, you're not going to spend the money on kegging. You're fine to
Yeah,
buy a, a
100%.
$20 bottle capper and bottles and,
And
cap.
bottles you can pretty much get for free for the most part, right? So
Right.
yeah.
And, even if you want to buy them, like, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you've got 2 or 3 people splitting, they pretty much just
Mm-hmm.
split all of the costs, and then one person will be like, "I'm gonna keep the equipment because 'cause I'm really getting into it," and then the other people will usually split the ingredients or whatever, and so it works out really good. But, yeah, I mean, I had fermentation equipment, I have so many buckets and carboys. Um, it's not even funny, but, now I have a lot of my own equipment. I have, like, 3 different sets and setups, one of which is cursed, I mentioned that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
that one's funny.
That's the further on down. We'll talk about that one for
Yep,
sure.
but, it was, like, 8 years, and I would just go and I would brew
Mm-hmm.
6, 7 times a year, but I would just go to
Okay.
somebody's
Yeah.
house, and they'd be like, "Hey, I wanna brew I don't really want 5 gallons of beer,
Yeah.
and I don't really know what I wanna do. You wanna do something together?" And so that was the majority of what I did, and, like, I've done a lot of double brew days. I did do one quad brew day.
Oh my gosh. How many like doubles?
Um, I will just say lesson learned. Number
Yeah.
1, if you're doing any more than 1, even 1, but especially any more than 1, make sure you have enough cooling equipment.
Yeah. That makes
Just,
sense. Yeah.
whatever. My friend I was brewing with on that day, she had a bunch of beers that she wanted to do, and, like, I wanted to do one, and so we were like, "Let's just do them all together." And she was getting ready to move, so she was divesting stuff, and one of the things she divested was her chilling coils. And, fall, so it's still warm in North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. So, yeah, so we watched a couple movies while they were chilling out in the garage, on, cooler of ice. But, yeah, that does make a difference. So learn from that. 3 would have been okay. 4 was pushing it. We were like everything hurts stage with
Yeah.
the 4th one. And we were doing staggered. So like the first one would start, we'd get it to a certain point, and then we'd start the second one. And then we had enough equipment that she had that we could do 2 full beers like that. And then we'd clean everything out. That was mostly my job. I was a janitor. And then we'd reset and we'd start the third one. And then we'd wait a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and then, whatever. So, but we were doing all grains for all of that. So, I mean,
Yeah. That's insane.
it was,
Can you
it was a
imagine?
long, very fun day that we both agreed never again for 4. 3
Yeah,
is our
I only did a double batch
3.
because it was for a competition, right? So I had to get 2 beers done for a competition. One was going to ferment faster than the other one, but so I had to get it done because it takes longer to ferment. that about killed me because I only have the one pot. I do brew in a bag, so like, of course, you still have to wash everything, do all that kind of stuff. But like, man, my back was hurting so bad. I was like, this is not even funny anymore. I just want to quit, throw the towel. But
And like,
I tell a lot of people that
oh,
like this hobby, if you get in this hobby, like I used to tell people, like when you get in this hobby, you're gonna do a lot of dishes. But now I tell people like I have a cleaning hobby that produces alcohol.
I've never heard it
Because
phrased that way. I love
all
it.
you're doing is cleaning or going back and forth.
Yes.
Now I have it to a point where like if I know 'cause again I know my system well enough, like if I know I'm done with whatever, say like the whisk, I'm washing it, it's done, it's put up, or the spoon or whatever. Like
Yeah.
so I but the
Clean
end
is done.
all I'm watching is or watching what I'm washing is my kettle, the work chiller, and maybe the bag and a few little odds and ends or something like that. So I don't really have a whole lot to bury in because that would take up. They usually take like an hour to
Oh,
clean
easy.
everything afterwards, right? So now I just when I'm done, I just put it up. I just get it done and over with. So like I don't really rest. I'm always moving around, watching this, doing that, pulling this up, pulling that back up. But yeah. Did you hear the news? Our Patreon community is completely free. So head over to patreon.com/Smoky Mountain Homebrew. Takes 10 seconds, one click, and you're in.
And it's deceptive how much, like, standing on concrete for that long, even while you're moving, it's deceptive how much your body is just like, "Didn't like that, you're gonna pay, thank you very kindly."
Oh yeah.
Listen, nerd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all it's mainly my back just starts to rock. So I'm like, oh, this still feel good. And trying to stretch it, all sorts of stuff. Like, nope, this ain't working. Gotta figure out something.
Yeah, then
And
you're
I,
just, like, stretching out
oh
while
my
you're like,
gosh,
yeah. Like,
yeah.
"Can I
I
hold
try really
this
hard
and
not to
stretch?"
drink either. Huh? What was that?
Yeah, like, what can I hold on to and stretch
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and not burn myself? Yeah,
I try not to drink while I'm brewing because I'm
same.
making food for the most part. I have a couple times, whatever. Typically, usually during cleanup, I'll have a beer or do or whatever. No, my philosophy is like, it's food I'm making and I want this food to last for a long time. And I don't want to be like inebriated and forget to do something that now my food is spoiled and I'm just out whatever it costs me to brew. That being said, sometimes some beers are only like $20. So it's not a whole lot of money, but sometimes I spent $60 on grains as well too, right? So that's a lot of money being thrown
Listen, I
away.
don't care if you gave me every piece of ingredient for free. That's
Okay.
still 5 or 6 hours of my time with everything.
Yeah, that's
So, like,
true.
I would like my our time is valuable. Like,
Yeah.
everybody's time is valuable. Like, I would like a finished product that if something goes wrong, so be
Hmm.
it, right? Like,
Yeah.
lessons learned. But if I do a dumb,
Yeah.
I
And
would
you know
prefer
you
that
messed up.
not to be the reason that I don't have something after 6 hours and however much money you spend,
Hmm.
on the
That's true. Yep.
ingredients. Like,
Very true.
it's one of those time is money. It's a
Hmm.
relaxing hobby for me. Some
Yeah.
people, it might be a little more stressful, especially if they don't like the cleaning or if you're doing all grain and, the mash and you gotta lift that thing. That's the other thing is, like, I'm
Yeah.
not much taller than most of the equipment once you have them on a table.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
Part of brewing is great because we at least got 2 hands,
Yep.
2 sets of hands where we can, like, "All right, let's hoof that grain up and, take it out and do what we need to do." And, I have a bunch of friends that compost and,
Yeah.
people that'll take the
Ditto. Do that
grains,
too.
spent grains and, dry it out and make flour and dog biscuits and all
Yep.
that stuff.
Yep. That's a good one too. Yeah.
So I'm
I bought a
like,
winch because I get tired of pulling that myself.
"Oh my gosh." And so I do brew in a bag, I do partial mash, and then I also do all
Okay.
grain. So I will basically do any of the types. I've done kettle sour, which is very entertaining when you are doing that and you don't have a way to temperature control. Um,
Yeah.
so
I would say
when
so.
I the one of the beers I did with Thirsty Nomad was Pickle Rick, and that was a kettle sour. And the first time we did it, we didn't think about that part until we kind of committed to everything. And then I get a text message that morning from Brad, the owner, the head brewer, and he's like, "Can you bring all of your extra blankets?" So we had like this aluminum like foil basically
Okay.
wrap
Yeah.
around the kettle to let it sit overnight with to getting that kettle sour effect. But then we put like I think I had like 6 like comforter type quilts and blankets.
Mm,
And we just wrapped them around and then duct taped the whole thing. And the beer turned out amazing.
there you go. Yeah.
And it shouldn't have. There by all rights, it should not have, but it did. And it's like, all right, blankets. are now temperature control. Cool. Who knew?
Right? Yeah, that's 100%. So you bring that up. I talked to one guy, I believe his name is David. He owns a homebrew shop, and there's always like these questions I ask like towards the end, like what is like a myth you like to bust or whatever. And he talked about like, don't worry about temp control. We've been making beer for thousands of years as a society, if not even hundreds of years. So like sours have been around for hundreds of years. So like it's going to be fine. Don't stress, blah, blah, blah. It's just the literature tells us, blah, blah, blah. Now, I think about it now. I've not done that advice. I still try to do things by the textbook if I can.
Absolutely.
But there's times I want to experiment. I want to like separate all these beers out and do like 1 gallon, just throw it outside, duct tape the lid so like nothing gets into it. Just let it cool overnight outside and just see how that turns out and just do other weird things here and there. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I definitely want to start talking about these 20 systems and 3 commercial breweries that you were involved in.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you bounced between 20 different systems.
Yeah.
It's a two-part question. The first part is, what was that experience like? And what was the wildest system you get to brew on?
So, as somebody who came in on accident into homebrewing, basically,
I
really,
volunteer.
I volunteer and I run a group and they want to do homebrew thing. And so I'm going to participate in my own group's event. Like, it was an accident, a happy accident. And like Bob Ross
Right.
says, like, happy little accident, little trees.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, um, I didn't really have an expectation coming into it on, and I lived in a townhome at the time, so space was at a premium, and you share walls, and it's vinyl, and like I'm not trying to blow up the whole 6 units or whatever because I accidentally light the propane wrong, whatever. It's like, okay, let's not try that. Like, let's gently in here. And I'm a very hands-on visual learner, and so I'm like, you know what? Let me just try. I don't know what I'd want to do for equipment. I've tried with the event that I ran with that first beer. I did another beer with that friend that had mentored, and then I just kept doing brews with people that were like, "Hey, do you want to brew? Like, we know you did this event." Like, somebody else reached out, and so I mean, it's probably at least 20 different systems from different friends. Really funny up until 2018, I'd only brewed with women.
Mm, okay.
2019, maybe, I'd only brewed with women. And then I've only brewed a few with men, and most of them are partners of women that I'm friends with.
Okay.
Um, and sometimes I'll brew with him and then I'll brew with her and we'll brew separate things. Because they're wanting to do different things and they're like, let's just have a day and that'll be a double brew day. But so just seeing how different people brew, even a couple will brew very differently. They'll have a different way of doing stuff or putting the math in or getting step A to point B type of thing. And
Mm,
so it was really cool to brew on so many different systems, get exposure to all the different equipment types because there's so many different types of kettles. There's so many different ways you can do your mash tun. There's so many different ways you can do your transfer, your sparge, all of these different things. Like, do you sparge? Do you Vorloff? Do you
mm,
do, not neither of those? Do you just take a big, you know, what you call a pitcher of water and just go in top of it? Like, I've
mm,
seen a lot of that different stuff. Like, it's just kind of cool to see how people do it. And then we're all nerds in different ways. So like we start talking about it.
mhm,
Oh, well, why do you do this? And it got me really good questions and answers with people that I feel like a lot of people getting into the hobby don't get that exposure. They see one or two different systems
mm,
and then they're like, okay, I'm going to go to my local homebrew supply store, see what they have. Or I'm going to look online and just see what they have. And you don't maybe even have a chance to see how that system operates.
right.
And so it's really cool, I think, when you brew and you partner brew. I would encourage anybody to partner brew. Um, Make sure it's somebody that you get along with. Make sure it's somebody that you have no problem having a disagreement with because, oh, I think you should do it this way. Oh, I think you should do it this way. That's going to come up. One of the nice things of doing that as you learn is you don't know enough to argue. All you know is ask questions. Hey, why do you do that? Not
Yep.
challenging, but like, why do you do that? Like, explain it to me so I understand the process. And so it's really cool and fun and unique way to kind of get into the hobby. And then it's also I didn't have to pay for any of those systems. I would typically what I would do is I would buy the ingredients if we were using somebody else's system. And I'm like, "We're using your system. I'll help clean everything." Some people are particular on their own systems, or you don't wanna, the system's bigger than me, and so I can't lift it, so, like, there's only I can get up on a stool and, get halfway into the pot to clean it, but I can't necessarily pick it up and move it. Um, so it really showed me what I don't want just as much as what I do want. Like, I did not
Okay,
want a
yeah.
system that I could not physically lift myself. I did not want a system that was gonna be so tailored that I couldn't take it to do my mentor event that I still do with the Beer Babes. Like, I needed something that was portable, but I also needed something that I could really self by myself use, and a lot of the systems, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And so if I hadn't done so much partner brewing, I probably, if I had just seen my first 1 or 2 where you needed 2 people to lift everything, I probably would have been like, "You know what? Not for me. I'll just do my one event and just do the mentorship piece."
Yeah.
So it was really cool to just be able to see that.
Well, I
So hopefully
bet,
that answered
yeah.
part A.
Yeah. 100%.
Wonderful. And then for the commercial side, so I've done beers with no Thirsty Nomad that we were talking about that is unfortunately now closed. I've done with Pilot Brewing, and I've also done with Noda Brewing. And so Pilot is microbrewery and Noda Brewing is much larger. And so they have fermenters where I am the height of the conical at the bottom. Like, I mean, these things are flipping massive. It's a gorgeous system. And then Pilot Brewing is a microbrewery. They have I can't remember what size barrel these breweries are, so forgive me, but they have stuff where I can go up on a small step ladder and I can reach the top. So
Probably
like,
5 barrel maybe, yeah.
yeah, I think it might be a 10 barrel.
10 barrel, okay, yeah.
Um,
Still a lot.
but you know, it's a huge difference in scope. And
Uh-huh.
actually, Rachel, who's the head brewer at Pilot, used to work at Noda Brewing. So that's actually how we met.
Okay.
She was one of the mentors for one of my Beer Babes events. And then she was able to open up her own brewery. She does great beer. Noda does great beer. Thirsty Nomad did great beer. So we're very fortunate. We have a lot of great breweries, but I've done stuff with both of them through Beer Babes. For our post-COVID first anniversary party, we had missed a couple anniversary parties, which are usually in December. And so Chad Henderson, one of the owners and head brewer from Noda, and I brewed a saison together for our 14 and a half anniversary, like our
Okay, yeah.
missed one, um, once COVID was over. And we had so much fun. And I've done multiple beers with them, but that one was really fun because their entire staff heard we were doing a saison,
Mhm.
and I like doing honey and flame out with my beers. And so Chad and I were going back and forth. We came up with the recipe together, and I'm like, My one ask is, can we please do a saison and have honey at flame out?" And he was like, "Sure." And all of the staff hears that we're doing a saison, and everybody I'm walking past that day and even before and after, 'cause
Mhm.
they're one of the closest to my house. I was there pretty often when I was in Charlotte. They were like, "You're doing a saison. I'm so excited. I need a saison. We don't burn up saisons." And I'm like, it's really cool when you can do something and the staff are excited. Um, and you don't always get that when you work in a brewery
Mhm.
and you're brewing towards what the public wants, and the public isn't always a fan of a saison. And it turned out great. We had a wonderful time. I've brewed a couple with them. I've brewed a couple with Pilot. I did the pickle rick with Thirsty Nomad. We also did we called it corset cincher, but it was a cranberry ESB that was a fundraiser for
Okay.
breast cancer.
Okay, that's
So
cool.
corset cincher.
Yeah. That is
Um,
really cool.
so I've had some really fun experiences. I've been friends with a lot of the Charlotte brewery owners and head brewers, a lot of them, especially the ones that are longer that they've been open. I'm not gonna call them old, but, the ones that have been around a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
yeah, yeah,
I've
for
been
sure.
friends with some of them since before they opened. And, so "Hey, you wanna do this?" The Pickle Rick actually came about. One of our local, bottle shop owners hates pickles with a burning passion.
Okay. Okay.
And Thirsty Nomad did pizzas, and they had done a pickle pizza as their special that week, and 25 people flipping tagged the owner of the bottle shop. Eh, like, he hates pickles. He was just, like, giving everybody crap about it and
Oh yeah, I
deservedly
can
on
see
both
that.
sides. But, everybody's
Yeah.
just being good-natured about it.
Mhm.
And I get a text from Brad, and he's like, the owner of Thirsty Nomad, and he's like, "That is the most engagement we've ever had on a post. You wanna make a pickle beer with me?" And I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it because 'cause I'm friends with."
Okay.
And I'm like, "But we've gotta tag this friend." And he was like, "Oh, absolutely, we're doing it." Um, and I was like, I have a lot of weird food allergies, so I was like, "My one request is, can we do it with pickling spices, not actual pickles?" Because I'm allergic to garlic and onion, and that's in all pickles, almost.
Yeah.
Like, it's super hard. So, we ended up doing, fresh coriander, fresh ground pepper, and then
Okay.
fresh dill weed and sea salt, and we made a pickle beer, kettle sour, with those in it, and it was so fantastic. Um, and we made a 5-gallon keg of it, and it sold out in, like, an hour. It was one of the first things that he's ever had that had sold out that quickly. It might have been a little bit more than an hour, but, like, it was quick. It was gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
I
so
had to
fast.
go
Yeah.
to an event, so I was hosting a group of my beer babes there, and I left for something else, and I came back, like, 45 minutes later, and it was gone. So sorry, cat feeder went off and
You're
scared me.
fine.
And, the joys of automatic feeders. And, I was like, what do you mean it's gone?" I had my parents, who I'm very close with, my mom doesn't drink beer.
Mhm.
Um, and she tried a little sip of mine that I had a glass of my own beer. She tried a sip of it, and I turned around to say something to somebody else, and I look back, and my glass is gone. My mom is drinking.
Wow.
I got a single sip of my own beer on that one because she drank all of it, and I was like, "You know what? I'm okay with that because this woman does not like beer, and she found a beer she liked. We're gonna encourage that." But I was also like, "Oh, what do you mean I don't get any of my beer?" But it was really cute. You said what? So we actually made it 2 more times at the brewery. So the
Okay.
second time we did it, anybody who's tried to do a kettle sour, anybody who's done a beer that just it whoopsied, um, you will appreciate the womp womp of this moment, but we did everything the exact same. We even brought the same blankets, wrapped it the same, everything. It came out beer cheese. Luckily, Thirsty Nomad had beer cheese on their menu, so he just dumped it in and used it for the beer cheese beer. And obviously he tested it, made sure they had a lot of science stuff, made sure it was still good. It was just very cheesy. Um, we still don't know what went wrong, but they had a larger system. We were just doing it on the 5-gallon system for a kettle sour. And so we did do it a third time, and then we actually did it on their bigger system. So we did, I think, a barrel,
'Kay.
and that went better. We also put it, or no, it wasn't a barrel. It was 15 gallons.
Okay.
And so half barrel. And so we ended up putting it into a what we thought was an oak barrel. I'm also allergic to grapes, so I can't do wine, which is very sad because wine barrel aged beers are amazing. But we thought it was an oak barrel, and then one of the other staff members comes up and he's like, "Oh, you're putting in the Chardonnay barrel." And we both look at each other like, "Oh crap." So we ended up doing a pickle Rick version in a Chardonnay and peach barrel, and it turned out
Okay.
great.
There you go. Happy little
Would
accidents.
never have done that on purpose. It was again a Bob Ross happy little trees accident.
Yeah, I love it. That's so
And
cool.
like if you've ever done a whoopsie, like one of those or both of those is gonna resonate because that we've all had a whoopsie.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. We did a barrel aged saison for like it was a club event, and the barrel that we picked up was from a brewery that shut down, which is now reopening. But they did a lot of sours in it. So basically this guy named Joe, which is the interview that's out right now, he suggested we all make a higher ABV to maybe help combat some of the sourness and all that kind of stuff. But I think somebody threw in some more sour beer into it. So like, I don't like sour beer, so I didn't like it. But it was pretty interesting. I never made a saison before, so I had like one sip out of it before I gave it to them. Um, let's see, I had four. I was gonna bring them to HomebrewCon, but they were about a year old. And I noticed all these weird little chunky things floating on top. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I was like, I'm not going to open it. So I would just,
Tasty bits.
yeah. So I didn't bring them there. So I just dumped it. I was like, I'm not going to fool around, get nobody sick. I'm not that kind of, I don't want to be known for that. He's got me sick. I won't be on this podcast. He sucks. But that's the only, so to make a long story longer, me and my friend, we met up in Lexington. We did part of the Bourbon Trail. We did a lot of breweries and cideries and stuff like that. But we went to Paris, Kentucky, which is east of Louisville,
Mhm.
and they sell 5 gallon wooden barrels that are used. So for like
Nice.
100 and maybe under $120, something like that. Me and him have talked about. We thought about meeting back up in Louisville, bringing our systems, making some really strong stouts, and do like a barley stout. Basically, it's what we were going to do. But I don't know if that's actually going to come to fruition or not. But I think that'd be kind of fun because we could do a stout, and then maybe we do like a lighter beer after that, and then it'd be pretty
Yeah.
much done for the most part, right? Because you need to get like 2 or 3 uses out of a
Yeah.
barrel, so
And I
not
mean,
much.
you could rehydrate the barrel
Yeah.
with, some bourbon or, insert alcohol of your choice, and then you'll get more uses out of it. But yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
that that can also get expensive. And
Yes, I
we're
could. We could
homebrewers.
imagine.
We're homebrewers.
Yes.
If it was a 1 gallon little keg, and they do make the little 1 gallon kegs, but like the barrels. But that might be worth it. But the bigger you get, the more you gotta use to re-season it. Like, I
The
think
only
it's a
bad thing is that we weren't sure how we were going to store it, who's going to take it, because again, he
yeah.
lives in Michigan, I live in Tennessee. There's all that kind of stuff going on. So
Yeah, and how do you get the beer
never
into
came to
it?
fruition. Oh gosh, yeah, all that kind of fun stuff. But
And then you
since
gotta
we've
lift
talked
it.
about you, yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh my gosh, to be heavy. Yeah, so we've talked about you running 2 homebrew clubs. I definitely want to know a little bit more about them. I'm sure the audience would love to know more about the Charlotte Beer Babes. Like, how did that get going, and what is the mission for that group?
So, Beer Babes is not actually a homebrew group. It's,
Okay,
we do one homebrew event a year, but, actually, some of our members are homebrewers that just happen to also be Beer Babes. And
okay,
so,
I
it
like it.
got started in 2011,
Whoa, okay.
and a friend of mine started it, and she ran it, and we would do once a month, beer basically education sessions where we would go to a local, craft beer bar, and one of the women who worked there would do a education session for us on one style, and we would try 5 different beers in that one style. It was like 15 bucks or whatever. And she would educate us on the style, the history, a little bit about each of the different beers, and then they had like 60 taps, so they were able to really, tailor that
Wow, holy crap.
and, get us 5 of one thing because it didn't matter because they had 55 other beers. So, like, if a couple of them were a little slower moving, it wasn't as big of a deal. So, we actually did, um, Farmhouse one time, Farmhouse
Hmm.
in Saison, and the slide on the presentation was this is when I was just a member. I will never forget. And I'm reading it, and it says, "The flavor will be like horse blanket." And I just remember looking at that going, "I beg your finest pardon. What do you mean drinking horse blankets?"
Yeah.
And that's gonna be disgusting. And also, I'm not a horsey girl. Like, I didn't grow up around horses. Like, I think I've pet one once, when I was a kid. Like, I'm like, "What is this?" But I'm like, "What in the world?" And that's important information because if you've never had a farmhouse ale, they're delicious. Do not let the horse blanket deter you. Um, um, and I get it up to like here, and I'm like, "Oh, that's horse blanket." why do I know what horse blanket tastes like and smells like?
Exactly, right?
What in the world? So I don't know if it was like a word association and it just kind of like got stuck in my head, but like it smelled and I was like, nope, that's horse blanket. I know exactly what that smells like. Why? It was actually a delicious beer. It did not taste like it smelled. So if you've not had a farmhouse, most of them are going to be a very different aroma versus taste experience for you. So don't let that deter you. But like it was one of those where I got I'm a nerd. We've said this multiple times. I will always call myself a nerd. I'm also a geek. Um, and they are different things. So I'm going to every single month, and my friends like, I travel for work, my husband travels for work. This isn't sustainable because one of the weekends I'm doing this stuff with the groups we did it on weekends. And I really just am dedicating more time to that than I would like to because I want to focus with my husband on our marriage. And so I was like, sure, I'll take it over. And so I took it over December 2013 and we went from 13 events a year to 45 events a year. Overachiever. Hello. And so since COVID has been a little wonky, anybody who runs any kind of a group or any kind of anything knows COVID changed a lot of people in a lot of ways. A lot of people are like, I don't want to put on real pants. I'm not
Right.
leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's got a cloud in the sky. I'm gonna stay in my pajamas. Darn, I'm gonna grab a beer at the house instead. So like it's changed a lot since COVID, but before COVID, I was doing 45 to 55 events a year. Um, my formula is one beer education a month. We go to a brewery, I pick
Okay.
a flight of
Yeah.
4 beers, and we talk about the different styles of beer and people try different things. It pushes people to try stuff they probably wouldn't otherwise.
Exactly.
Um, which is a draw of going to those events is, hey, I like beer or I'm trying to learn about beer and I want to learn more and I don't necessarily know where to start. I got you. Then we also do monthly brewery visits where we just go and we hang out at a brewery for 3 hours and you drink what you want.
Hmm.
And I make no money off of this, by the way. So I organize it, do whatever needs to happen, and then people just show up and they pay for whatever they consume. Um, we alternate breweries. When we only had like 12 breweries in Charlotte, it was great because I could do one event a
Yeah, each
month
one. Yeah.
and hit every single one, and then we would do the bottle shops for the flights and for the tastings, or we would alternate some bottle shops in there um, with the brewery visits and whatnot. And we've got a lot of breweries and bottle shops in the Charlotte metro, and we try to go to the extremities. So going down towards like the Fort Mill area in South Carolina, which
Mm.
is just over the border of North and South Carolina, and just south of Charlotte. Go up into Huntersville, which is just north, out to Gastonia and Concord areas, which are it's all about like 30 minutes in any direction. Hmm, depending on traffic. And so we would mix it up. We would do weeknights, we would do weekends, and then I also do beer and food pairings.
There you go. Yeah,
We've
that's
done a
awesome.
number with pimento cheese. We've done we used to have two fantastic cideries in Charlotte. They've unfortunately both closed. One of them's trying to open back up with a new spot, but they haven't solidified that yet. And we have a brewery that also does kombucha. So I would always do events at those 3, and then I would alternate with the breweries. And we did a pie and cider pairing for
That'd be
gallons
good.
one year,
Mm.
and it was phenomenal. We did a cheese and regular cheese, not pimento, but a regular cheese and cider pairing. We've done cheese and beer pairings, pimento and
Hmm.
beer, like all different types. We've done up until COVID, we would do an annual beer babes brunch. I would do basically a 50-ish dollar 4 or 5 course um your cocktail pairing
Okay.
brunch.
Yeah.
And we tried some amazing restaurants. And it was this huge event, usually around Easter. And so springtime, it was lovely. Everybody kind of dress up a little bit and just have fun with it. And we had some amazing beer cocktails that looked ridiculous. Like we had one, it was a bloody Mary, and they put a little slider, a huge like gherkin spear, and I can't remember the other piece to it, but there was like a third piece, and it looked like an alien was coming out of the Bloody Mary. It was one of everybody's favorite things. It's weird in a picture, but it looks phenomenal in person, and
Yeah,
everything tasted great. And so, sorry for the cat in the background.
you're fine.
She's just like, "All right, you're not paying me attention. Why aren't you paying me attention?" But yeah, so it's just, we do beer and food pairings. We volunteer at local beer festivals. Um, I got into it. I'm also a big proponent of volunteerism as well as giving back to the community. So I would do quarterly nonprofit stuff. So we would do volunteering at local beer festivals before COVID. There would be a beer festival dang near every weekend for about 7 months out of the year. So we would
Wow, that's
just,
cool.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily work everyone, but I would get the information out like, hey, if you want to do this, here's some great ones. And Carolina Brewmasters, which I'm part of, we do our beer festival. Any of y'all want to come help and volunteer for me? And it would get them wet and their feet wet into, volunteering at a beer festival, which can be intimidating if you've not done it before. And doing the Queen City Brewers Festival. It's been one that we've been a part of for years. It's in it's always Saturday of Super Bowl weekend, and it is Charlotte area breweries and Charlotte metro area. And they it's only those breweries, they come in and we would run the raffle. And it was
Hmm.
this huge thing, it would bring in thousands of dollars. And then I would get up on stage and do this whole thing. They would do 2 sessions. I think they do 1 now. And we would do this whole big thing, and one winner got this huge amount, I mean, thousands of dollars in prizes. And everybody's just like, You're extroverted, you go up and get the crowd going." And then,
Yeah, it makes
people would
sense.
come and they really wanted to volunteer selling raffle tickets, which
Hmm.
is not normally something that people are like, "Yeah, well, sign me up for that." But at a beer festival, heck yeah.
All right.
Um, do not knock that over, my dear.
Mhm.
She's in the back and she's got like a
Ah.
that she's just like, "Whoop." I'm like, we're not doing that." Um, and so, just doing like volunteering with it and just a different theme each quarter of the different charities. And we would do fundraisers, and then all different types of stuff. And then a lot of that is also very similar in concept to what the Homebrew Club Carolina Brewmasters does. Not on purpose, it just accidentally kind of works out very not quite mirror like, but we do monthly meetings every month. So we meet in Charlotte at Brewers at 4001 Yancey, which is the Southern Tier Victory and Six Point and Bold Rock collaboration. And first Wednesday of every month, except for July, is actually going to be the second. It's going to be the 8th. It's next Wednesday. And we get everybody together. We usually have about 40, 50 people,
Oh,
and
that's a good
everybody
turnout.
brings a brew to share. We do a meeting agenda with all of our different officers. We have 7 officers and then 5 board members.
Mm.
Um, and so all of the officers give a little different presentation. We do a big homebrew competition. It's going to be September 12th this year. The US It's the US Open. And then we have a charity aspect. We have a charity raffle for it. And so we have a VP of charity, a VP of competitions. So they go through, all their stuff. And then we also
Mhm.
have other charity stuff that we do with different charity beneficiaries throughout the year. And so that's a big thing that's important to our entire club.
Mm.
When we were running Charlotte Oktoberfest, $750,000, that is something that our club members have an expectation that we are benefiting our community back. And so we work with different local charities. And some of them might be national charities, but we're working with the local group.
Chapter of it or
And
whatever.
yep. And so we do that. We do monthly brew sessions where somebody hosts a brew session at their house and we can go out and see other people's equipment. Now you're not brewing on their equipment with them, but you're
Mhm.
watching.
All right. Yeah. A
That
little technical difficulty. That's fine.
The one thing we all expect after COVID is technical difficulties on any kind of a recording. But yeah, so yeah, just having the philanthropy is a big part of the Carolina Brewmasters as well. And so we'll do like once or twice a year at a brew session, we'll have like a can drive for people. to bring to the local food bank, and then you watch people brew on their equipment, you get to see their setup. So it's not quite the 20 you're brewing on 20 different setups yourself, but you get to see other people's setups. "Hey, I like this. Oh, I didn't know you could do this." Like, it's really fun. And then people bring homebrew to share, and then we usually have our club sponsors usually of a few beers of whatever style is being brewed for people to try some commercials. And, I had done last year, I had done Scottish Light. A little hard to find Scottish Lights commercially, but our VP of membership did a phenomenal job of finding some Scottish beers to bring. And so worked out great. And, we've done stovetop, we've done all grain, we've done brew in a bag with the, oh my God, what's the word? Not the wrench. Hoist, thank you. With the hoist, we've done brew in bags without a hoist, where you are the hoist.
Yeah.
Um, partial
About
mash.
that.
I did an extract on a stovetop at mine
Yeah.
because it was raining cats and dogs, and I had to pivot with 15 minutes notice, kind of a thing. So, we do a lot of stuff with that in the club, and then we also have a VP of social, and so we do a brewery support night or a pint night every month where we go out to a local brewery and we support them. We, have, a couple beers, half pints or whatever, just try out. And it pushes people to try breweries and try beers that they wouldn't necessarily try, which is awesome. And, if we're gonna nerd out, we gotta nerd out good. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. So so you probably like the half pints and stuff like that. I wish more breweries around here did that because I'd be more apt to try more. And you're not saving money. So let's say like I've noticed like if it
it's not about
costs
the money.
yeah, so like well it's like $6 for a pint and it's like $4 for like a half pint. That doesn't bother me. I really don't care. I
Nope.
just wish more had it so I could try other things because I can go to a brewery so like the biggest one in my region is Johnson City Brewing Company. They've
Okay.
been around like the longest. I think they've been around since like 2008 or something like that. Don't get mad at me, Eric, if I got it wrong. But he has a large board. He brews a lot. He has, I think he's at 3 locations in Johnson City. He has his beer out in Nashville now. He's at the airport. He's kind of all
Awesome.
over the place. So he has a lot of different beers. But again, I'm getting older. I don't drink a whole lot as much as I once did.
I
So
don't want that
drinking
much
4 or
liquid.
5 pints, that's a lot, right? So I always at least buy one for every time I go. I at least get
Absolutely.
one pint for sure to support them. I did want to go back to some of the when you're talking about like hosting and doing all these other events. Is this where judging kind of started as well too? When you were volunteering, did that kind of get into that little realm as well? So we haven't really touched that one yet.
So I mentioned that our homebrew club does the US Open homebrewing
Yeah,
competition. And so 2014, a lot of stuff happened in 2014,
yeah, you were
2015 for me.
busy.
Apparently, I was very busy. I did not sleep that year. So, um, we were doing the US Open, and I was part of the club, and they said, "We have a call out for volunteers." I'm like, "Hello. Hello, have we met? Nice to meet you." And my buddy was the, head of the competition that year,
Okay.
and I was like, "I'm tell me about stewarding." If
Hmm.
you've never done a homebrew competition, you have your judges, and everybody's a little bit different, but basically your judges are going to taste the beer, write down notes, and actually do the judging. Your stewards are going to bring the beers to them, help them with any questions they have, get them supplies, saltine crackers, broken pencil, whatever. And then they're also going to record the numbers for your flight of beers that you're tasting, and then help organize the paperwork. And so I was like, hello, I can do paperwork. Like, I got you. Let me do stewarding. It'll get
Yeah.
me in. Let me see what it looks like to be at a homebrew competition. I'd never attended one. I
Hmm.
was completely ignorant. I was a clean slate. I walk in and I'm all excited to steward. One of my girlfriends was also going to steward from the Beer Babes. I roped her into it. She was like, "This is cool." She was trying to get into homebrewing as well. And my buddy Bill comes up and he's like, "Hey, we have a judge that didn't show up. I'm mismatched. I'm one down and I have a flight of beers. I trust your palate. You're going to be a judge." I'm
Okay.
like, I've never stewarded. I've never been to this. What do you mean I'm going to be a judge? Having like a little existential crisis in the middle,
Right? Yeah.
and trying not to flip out him on visual, in person, but like in my head, I'm
Uh-huh.
having an existential crisis.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Here you go. You're going to sit down with this judge here. He's been judging for 15 years, 20 years."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay, fine. What do you need me to do?" He gives me a brief rundown, and then I'm like, "Okay, cool. What's my style? Wood barrel aged beers." For anyone
Mm.
who has never entered a competition, who has never judged beers, wood barrel aged beers means that it is any style of beer possible with any possible adjuncts. And the only consistency across all of the beers is they have been barrel aged.
Been barely, Jim.
It's a wide net. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, you're going to put a newbie who's like
Right?
fresher than the greenest grass that's in the first year of growth. Like, you're going to put that person on wood barrel aged beers. Okay, cool. This is going to be an adventure. So I
Mhm.
tell the person I'm judging with, I've never done this before. Please be gentle. Guide me through this. He was super sweet, guided me through it, went through, we judged everything, you know, as judging is, but as you have different palates, you mentioned you had a couple beers you tried where you're just like, not mine. And one of the things that I've learned through doing the beer education courses or classes with the beer babes, because I teach those at this point for my group, everybody's palate is different. It doesn't mean it's a bad beer if you don't like it. It just means it's not a beer for you. It could be
Exactly.
that there is something wrong with the beer, but more often than not, it's not your preferred style. Or it's got something that maybe you like the style, but there's an ingredient in there you don't like.
Yeah.
And I learned that real hard judging wood barrel aged beers, let me tell you. But luckily I had like 2 years at that point of, yeah, so it must have been 2015. I had like 2 years of doing the beer education where
Okay.
I was teaching. And I used to have like, before COVID, I had like 30 people come to each of those classes. Like, it was a big size group. And so I'm like, all right, I know beer styles vary. I know how to look the information up. Again, nerd, I would do a whole sheet for people to take notes on. And like, the BJCP guidelines for the
Mhm.
style of
Mhm.
beers that we're drinking. And here's some information about the brewery and the specific beer that we're drinking for each of them. Right. So like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, I
awesome,
got
yeah.
this. But, like, the judging notes, like, oh my gosh, that was so intimidating. So if you've never judged and you're in all interested, highly recommend ask the steward, ask to go in and be a third judge. Usually it's a two-judge pairing, and just sit there and learn, soak it all in. It's a great thing, and they need judges. You do not need to be a BJCP certified judge. You don't need to be a cicerone in order to judge.
Mhm.
And so, like, our competition is a BJCP sanctioned, AHA sanctioned competition. So
Okay.
every judge pairing, one of them is a BJCP judge. That's how we do it.
Gotcha.
We don't require everybody to be, because you're never going to learn. You're never going to get into it. And we're not going to have enough judges, frankly, if
Mhm.
we require everybody to be BJCP. And, as a club, we're not going to pay for everybody to do BJCP. That's expensive.
Yeah.
We're not for profit. So, and with our club having philanthropy is such a big core tenet for us, if we do have that money, we're trying to
Mm.
give to philanthropy. We're
Mhm.
not necessarily trying to spend every single dollar.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, we're trying to encourage people, and we'll do sessions in our meetings that are about BJCP judging and tasting different styles so that we
Yeah.
get some of that education. So we do provide that for our club members. But like, it's wild. So with the judging, just starting that and just going through that entire process was just so wild. And I'm like, you know what? If I did wood barrel aged beers, like, the world is my judging oyster. I got this for you. Because I think we had a flight of 15 beers. I don't think we
My
had two styles
gosh.
the same.
Probably not, yeah.
The thing that we had the most in common was, I think most of them were bourbon barrel aged, if I recall correctly.
Okay, yeah. But
And so
even
I'm like,
then, it'd be totally different, right? Because every bourbon's
oh,
different,
and
right? So
they were, do you
yeah.
get vanilla? Do you get that
And
rye? Like,
caramel or whatever,
and
yeah,
caramel,
right,
like,
that's a good one,
so
yep.
many. And
Mhm.
luckily I like bourbon. So,
Yeah,
it was
there
one
you
of
go.
those, and
Who'd
my
heard?
friend ended up being our steward, and so I was like, "I'm allergic to certain things, I can't have them." So, we did have one wine barrel aged, and I was like, "I can smell it, I can do the appearance, I can't do the taste, because I will be out of commission for 24 hours if I have a sip of this." So she tried it, and then we went off of her notes for the taste. mine for
Okay,
everything
yeah.
else. And then he had his notes. And I talked to the judge and I was like, "Hey, this is the situation." He's like, "Yeah, that's fine. You know, you can get a lot on your palate from the nose and the visual. So like, I trust you, you trust her palate, like let's do it." And it's
Yeah,
one
for
beer.
sure.
And we gave really good notes to them. And I put on there, I'm allergic. So our steward provided the flavor notes and whatnot. And so
Mm,
we went through
yeah,
that. And she was tasting all the beers as we went through little sips of them. So we got an idea of how her palate was comparing to mine and to the gentleman I was judging with. And so it worked out great. That's
that's awesome
atypical,
though. Yeah.
but we made it work. It was an accessibility
Mhm.
thing. Like, I
Yeah.
could not drink it. And so it was great, but it also taught her how to do that, and she ended up judging the next year.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's cool.
and you don't need to be a BJCP judge, so it was cool. I've been doing this 11 years, and I'm
And
still not a BJCP
shut
judge.
up on
I'm the
that.
president of my homebrew club.
Right,
In
yeah.
my 3rd year as president too, so it's like, I should have no excuse for this.
Mm,
But it is in the works. I'm trying to do it. One of my VP is Charity and I are trying to do BJCP judge, at some point in the next year
okay.
together. So maybe
Right,
not for
yeah.
this year's competition, but we're trying to get it for next year's. So
Oh, that'd
yeah,
be
but
really cool, yeah.
and it's just fun, and it's just another nerdy thing that I like.
So we have a guy in one of my homebrew clubs, the Brunette, which is Brewers of the Northeast Tennessee, I think is what it stands for. Um, I guess his name's Tim, but Tim's been working so much overtime here lately. He hasn't been to a homebrew meeting in probably 8 months. So I'm not sure where that
It'll happen.
training's going to go
Yep.
or anything like that. So one thing that I want to do, because I'm still fairly new to this hobby, I've been doing it for 5 years. I want to do off flavor tasting, but it's what I
Have you
want to do.
have you
I
done
haven't
one
had
before?
not yet. Every time they try to do it, I go, I'm on vacation and I'm gone and I always miss out. So I asked, I'm not going on vacation this year because my vacation was Asheville. So hopefully in the next few months we will do, because we have the kit,
Okay.
right? So that's not a problem. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to buy it. We
Is
just
it
got to
the
figure out
Sable
when to
one?
plan it. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So
So
I just wanted to see what it is.
how many in the kit? I have a reason for this question. How many are in the
I
kit?
I don't recall. I know it's over five. I remember that.
Okay, I'm gonna learn from mistakes.
Sure.
So, for anyone listening, if you are unfamiliar with off flavor panels and off flavor testing, like we're talking about,
Right.
they have these little vials that you can get ordered for each of the different off flavors. So, diacetyl, acetaldehyde, which is that green apple. Um, there's something like, I want to say 50 options that you can get. And so they usually come in like packs of 6 or 12.
Yeah.
My dumb butt bought a 12 pack,
Okay.
organized organized a Beer Babes and CBM collaboration event. It was mostly Beer Babes, but invited whoever. And we did 12 off flavors in a night. And what we did is we were partnered with a local brewery, and they had kind of like a pilsner
Yeah.
that we could use as the base beer and add in. And we basically we split the cost of the pitchers of that beer. We worked it out ahead of time. And then we did a flight in addition. And it was a flight of good beer. And so we would do 3 off flavors and a good beer from the flight. 3 off flavors, a good beer. It was really educational. I don't recommend doing more than 6 ever
Right.
at a time.
Yeah.
Um, and I was doing the off flavor tasting with, and I will tell you, we're going to pretend this is a big pitcher. You're dropping 3 drops into a huge pitcher of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say I'm this close, and it was knocking me out with some of them, it's ooh. And there's some of them that's very light. And then we realized that we had a couple people that actually came to the class that had been recommended from this, that, or the other, because it's not something that people often see. So we had somebody that drove like 2.5 hours to it
Mm.
and was staying with a friend in
Holy
Charlotte.
crap. Yeah.
And yeah, because they were getting ready to do the BJCP exam, and you have to know your off flavors. And they were really excited to see 12 up until we actually did it, and then we were all like, "Ooh," everybody agreed, and we were like, "No, this was great, but mistakes were made, were lessons learned." So 6 is the max. Um, but what we ended up finding is that I had picked some weird ones because I was like, "I've never heard of Isolde."
Mhm.
Isolde. Never heard of it.
Right.
You know what that off flavor is?
No idea.
Baby diaper.
Oh, lovely.
If you get Isolde, however the heck you pronounce it, and you get baby diaper, you have a water contamination issue. Stop drinking, spit it out, dump the beer, and go talk to whoever is in charge of that place and have them turn off that tap.
Yeah.
Um, when I say I did that little boop boop, 2 drops, and
Mhm,
I had
mhm.
to go like this with the pitcher because it wafted into my nose, 2 drops, whole pitcher of beer. I And I grew up babysitting, like, a dirty
Mhm.
diaper does not bother me. Like, it's not pleasant, but I'm not the one that has to, like, have you know,
Right.
the clothespin hitting the nose, like, whatever, it's a dirty diaper, it's fine. Y'all, this almost killed me. And I'm like, "And now I gotta drink it?"
Yeah.
And I will say for everybody, I made the comment about dump it, blah, blah, blah. These are chemicals that have been made to impersonate the ones that you really can't do, like this one, where if you actually drank it, you would end up in the hospital or, at least urgent care, because it's a water contamination issue, and that's a no-no. But they do a chemical component that gives that same property. I mean, and, we're only doing, like, an ounce of the an off-flavored beer in anybody's tasting glass, but we had a couple people that were doing the exam that were like, "I'm not getting diacetyl," which is somewhere between buttered popcorn
Yeah.
and, butterscotch, and somewhere in that realm. It depends on how strong. And some people, it's very, very faint for them, and for some people, you have a hint of it, and they can smell it from, a foot away in a glass. And so, we had a couple people that just couldn't smell it, and so they were like, "Can we use that vial and add more to our glass?" And I'm like, "I mean, if you want to, go for it." Like, these are going in the garbage, so go for
Right.
it. And you end up using, like, I think it's like a half vial in a pitcher, for a lighter, and then you could do a full vial, but, like, the sold the baby diaper, that was like 2 drops. I
Two
was
two
like, "We are
two
not
drops knock you out.
we are not putting more in this one because we can get it from here." And, like, like, half the people were just like, "You know what? Yep, okay, there we go, pass it to the next
I
person." Like,
I smelt it, I'm good, yep.
I did, and I was like, I'm leading this class, I'm leading the education session. I need to lead by example, and I took a sip, and that I should have had us all take a sip at the same time because my face was what made a lot of them be like, "And pass. Hard
Yeah.
pass."
Yep.
But it
Yep.
was really fun. I will say the beer education on that is epic. We've done them
Mhm.
before with the Siebel for Beer Babes and for Carolina Brewmasters. I've done I think 4 or 5 of them at this point. And, 2 of our local, breweries actually have very high level cicerones, advanced cicerone,
Mm.
one's a master cicerone, and they've done those classes as well. And it is absolutely worth doing. No more than
No more than 6. 6 is the keyword.
6.
Yeah, I know it's not the full kit because I remember I looked it up. I don't know which one it was. I just can't remember. Like, it's been a while. Because like I said, I've been talking about this for like 3 years, and I haven't yet to do it. 'Cause like I said, I'm always gone whenever they try to bring it up. I
So
got
fun.
oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about the nerd life here. You brought up one thing that really sparked my interest. You brought up
Okay.
Magic the Gathering. So I'm without you even asking me a question, I'm gonna go first. I started in 1994 to know it came out in
Okay.
93. So when I lived in Flint, I think I was a sophomore maybe in high school. And I belonged to this club it was called Indian Education. My mom thought we were Native American, so we put me in this club. So I went away on this trip up into northern Michigan, just south of Traverse City, at
Mhm.
this reservation up in that area.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was hanging out with this one guy. He had magic with him. And about playing magic. Oh, well, that's really cool. So I went out, basically had the full alpha deck and pretty much almost all of the beta deck. Then I graduated high school, 95, and then like kind of lost interest. I didn't feel like playing anymore. I had them until like 2000 and something, 2002, 2003. I sold them both for like $500, get rid of them. Well, tell me about your Magic the Gathering.
But before we get into that, I will just tell you, for your own sanity, do not
Yeah.
look up your cards that you
Oh, I
remember
have.
had.
I have. And it's
It will
just,
hurt
it
your
makes you
feelings.
cry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll hurt your feelings so bad. If anybody got out of the hobby of that particular hobby and are like, "Oh, I wonder what those cards would be worth," don't do it. It'll
Yeah.
hurt
The
your
Black
feelings.
Lotus alone was
Oh, you had a black mark?
astronomical.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That one alone, it would have made me, like, sit in, like, a depressive coma for a week in a bathtub, just, like, little towel over my head with a candle, like, oh my god, yeah. Um, oh, man, I'm so sorry, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you got out of that hobby, don't look. It'll hurt your feelings bad. So I got into Magic the Gathering after COVID. One of my
Okay.
girlfriends, we do metal concerts together, we do brewery hopping together,
Uh-huh.
we do a whole bunch of, nerdy cosplay stuff together, and
There
we've
you
been
go.
friends for years, and we she was like, "Hey, you're coming to visit. I think you'd like this thing because you like nerdy stuff and it's nerdy." And she'd really gotten into it, and so she got me into it, and the rest is downhill history from there.
I bet. Yeah.
Um, so they do in-universe, in the Magic the Gathering world stuff, and then they also do Universes Beyond. So they'll pull in IPs from right now, the set that just came out is Marvel Superheroes. I'm also a Marvel nerd. Um, Upcoming set this year is The Hobbit and Star Trek.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool. Yeah.
They just did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Last year they did Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm like, "Well, you guys," they did Final Fantasy,
Hmm.
which my friend is huge Final Fantasy, so, like, the amount of money spent on that one was ridiculous. They did a Spider-Man set last year. They
Oh, that's
did,
cool. Yeah.
can't remember what the first one, and then they've done in the last 2 years, just last year and this year. In the last 3 years, they've done, I think, 9 sets of in-universe, and one of my favorite is the Bloomborough, which is
Okay.
all cute little animals. They're precious. They're absolutely precious. So since you played, they've come out with a couple new formats. The main one, which is the most common, is Commander. And so you have a 100 card deck, you have a Commander, and then 99 other cards. And your Commander is kind of outside of your library in your hand. Um, and you can bring it out and put it back and whatnot. You don't have to actually have recursion for your deck or, bring stuff back from the graveyard where, it went to die, or exile or whatnot. And so that's what I learned on, and it's one of the more complicated versions,
Mm,
versus, Legacy or Standard or Modern, which are all the formats that the alpha and the beta would have been.
yeah.
And so I've played b multiple different types, but I talking about nerds, so there's an app called Box where you can track all your stuff and you can do all your decks, so, these are all of my
Oh, there
different
you
decks.
go. Yeah.
That's just my different decks that I've
That's
built.
crazy.
And there's pre-constructed decks, so I do have a number of
Mm,
precons.
yeah.
And so Wizards of the Coast will do items where they'll do different types of sets, but then every so often they will do not as much for the universes beyond, but always for their in-universe stuff. They will have 3 to 6 different commander decks that are we've constructed something, and they usually have some pretty good cards, pretty high value cards. And they do foil and non-foil, and then they'll do borderless, and they'll do special art. And they'll do a selection of those in the pre-constructed decks, which is great because if you get just that $50 deck or $60 deck, you've got a really good representation of that set. And so you can go out and you can buy individual packs. You can go out and buy singles, or you can just have that and then just supplement it with your other stuff. So it's been made very economical in a way because you can get into it pretty cheap as a hobby. That is not the way I am in it,
Mm.
but that's a choice I have made, and I feel like they've set me into that. And then speaking of the conferences, I'm actually going to MagicCon in
Okay.
Atlanta this year.
There you go.
So that'll
Yeah.
be my first time going, and some of the people from my local game shop are going. So a few of us are staying together and driving down together, and that's gonna be fun. But Heroes Con in Charlotte in June every year was the week before HomebrewCon
Okay.
is a comic convention,
Hmm.
and it's been going on for like 35 years, from a local Charlotte comic books store. But they actually usually have a couple Magic the Gathering artists. So I was able to get some of the cards from the artists, and they were able to sign them of things that they've
So
actually
cool.
designed.
Yeah.
And again, nerd. I don't try to hide it. I couldn't if I
Mhm.
tried.
Right.
Um and it is so fun. I love that game so much. And there's actually a bunch. So they've got Arena, which is basically it's all standard um gameplay, but it's all virtual in a way that
Yeah.
you have all this automation. And I'm not a huge fan of that one, mostly because I
Hmm.
also play Commander. So I found other ways where you can do a virtual with your own deck. And
Okay.
so you load your deck from Mana Box or, Archidect or one of the other great apps that are out there, and you can just get on a Discord server and find random people to play with and then
There you
play,
go.
2, 3, 4 pod. And so I'll usually end up sitting drinking a little beer with my webcam up on Discord, and we're playing it, and I'm
Having a
like,
go
"Hey,
time.
how we collide."
So I
So
did try Arena when it first come out. Gosh, this
mhm,
was a while ago. Maybe I was at BIS, which means nothing to you, but it was like the last company, no, the longest company I worked at. But I remember we were all kind of playing because like I ran the department. We made a product called a tax package, and sometimes we didn't always have a lot of issues to work on. So I didn't really care what my crew did as long as they looked busy. So we all saw this come out. So we all looked busy on our computers and we're playing Magic the Gathering Arena. And I did. I had fun up until the point to where like I felt like it was turning into pay to win in a way. Like you couldn't get like this. So like Hearthstone kind of did the same thing too. I was playing Hearthstone there for a while, and then like that really turned into pay to win. So I'm like I'm not paying for this stuff. I'm not that attached to it. I can play something different. But like yeah, my wife didn't realize how much of a nerd I was until we actually got like fully married. Like I got my comic books over there, which I'm slowly getting rid of. I got one, two, like six different game systems over there. My own, I mean, just that I'm a big old nerd. But again, slowly getting rid of stuff. But yeah, so it's a fun hobby. It can be very expensive. I tried to get my youngest son involved because I saw they had what were they called, like dual decks? I think that's what they were called. This was probably so he just graduated college, so maybe 6 years ago or 7 years ago. Like I started buying those, and it was just always like they're already pre-built. We can just play, have a good time, and be done with it. We don't have to worry about
yep.
anything.
Yeah, I think they've changed them to jumpstart decks now.
Is that what they're called now? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
I've
think
not
it's
really
jumpstart.
looked. Nah. The only person I know of my friends who still might be kind of interested in it would probably be my buddy Nick, but I'm not 100% sure. There was another game that came out at that time frame. This would have been probably 94. It was called Jihad. It was based on vampires. And
Okay.
you had a blood pool. So you use any gemstones you want. So we bought these glass beads, these red ones to be as blood. And as you're taking damage, you would take away these, these blood things away from them. That was really fun. It didn't take off like Magic did, but the learning curve I thought was a lot easier. You didn't have to like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
counter spelling with this white one that does this to you and da 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 da. You're like, hold on, let's argue for a while.
Well, and
Nerdy
like
stuff,
I do
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons too, so it's like,
Nah, I wanted to so bad. I grew up. I'm not sure how old you are. I said I was born to like a
42.
77.
I'm 42.
42. Okay,
Eighty.
it's not a big difference, but in the early 80s, when I was growing up, when not magic, D&D was a big thing, my mom was a part of the whole satanic panic fear
Uh,
festival, right? So
yep.
there was none of that for me to play, so I never played it until I was in my 20s. I played once, and my friend killed me off in the first 10 minutes. Like, this sucks. I'm done. I'm never playing
That's
again.
not a good friend.
And I tried one more time, probably about your age. I think I was about 42, maybe 40, 41,
Okay.
42. And we did that for a while. We had on my Discord. I put a bot in that would help us roll and all that kind of stuff. And it was fun. And then the guy that was our DM got married and never came back. So we never went very far. But it was fun. I'm glad I got to play. But that taught me how to play with my kids. So I taught
Yeah.
my kids how to play a little bit. I was like the DM a little bit, trying to get them to
Cool.
play. So that was fun. Then I bought one a D&D adjacent game. It's called RPG Kids, and it's meant for like
I've seen
five-year-olds.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when my kid was my youngest, or youngest is 22, 23 now. So when he was 5, I was playing that with him just to kind of go through it. So we had fun doing that. But yeah,
It's
definitely a
so
nerd.
much about your imagination and yeah, it gets you so many other skills than just, "Oh, you're playing a game." And
Yeah.
magic, oh my god, the math in that one, it can
Hmm.
just absolutely kill you. Like, I've been killed by somebody swinging at me with 152 different critters coming at me
Hmm.
at once. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you are doing what?" I mean, I'm dying, but how am
Yeah.
I dying? How am I
Yeah,
dying?
exactly. Yeah. And how much can I actually block?
102 things and 148 of them are little squirrels? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like death by squirrel. What? And so it's really fun, but a lot of our breweries actually have partnered with some of the local D&D for one
Okay.
shot
Yeah.
and Magic the Gathering groups
Yeah.
to actually host like they'll have brewery
That's
nights.
dope. Yeah.
And so it's like all of my things are coming together again.
Yeah.
And I work in tech, so it's like a lot of them are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
let's see how
Hmm.
techy we can get, like, let's put stuff up on the screens and, all this stuff." And so it's really fun, but, like, I
Yeah.
like diversifying my nerd.
Yeah, nope, nothing wrong with that. We have a local Irish restaurant slash pub. They import all the beers from Ireland because this region of Northeast Tennessee was pretty much discovered by the Irish and Scots for the most part, and that heritage goes pretty deep. But up the upstairs part of the restaurant, they have game rooms where they have all sorts of stuff. So they have like D&D and probably have Magic and Pokemon and whatever else. They even have board games you can grab and go up there. So if you want to play like Settlers of Catan or whatever. So like I've bought a lot of games for me and the wife because now it's just me and her. The kids are all grown.
Yeah.
They moved out. So we have a lot of like easy to play, quick 20-minute, 30-minute games. So like I think one of our favorite ones is probably, oh, we just played it the other night. I'm drawing a blank. I can see it. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. Oh, what's crap. Anyways, if I remember, I'll tell you later on because it's
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
gone. It
Well,
deals
and a
with
lot
like
of
gyms and stuff like that. But
yeah, and a lot of our breweries have, like, an entire wall of, like, board games and card
yeah,
games.
yeah,
And it's I mean, 'cause what better way to just kick back and enjoy some time? And, I mean, I've been drinking the same beer the whole time we've been on, it's been an hour and 42 minutes since we've been
yes,
recording. And we'd started
right.
talking before that, like, I'm a slow drinker, I'm not a quantity drinker.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
And one of the reasons I don't care about the ABV, if it's 3.2% or the 2 percenter that I made for HomebrewCon, like, okay, fine, like, great, it tastes like I want it to, and
Yeah,
we're going.
right.
And, so it's just one of those, like but we have a couple of our game shops that actually serve beer. And
Okay,
so they have, like, a 6-tap system,
that's so cool.
and they have a lot of the local beers 'cause, craft beer in Charlotte is very much community. And I've been to cities where it was, similar to that.
Hmm.
Chattanooga, I think, was very much like that in Tennessee. Um, and I've been to cities where it's not community. It's
Yeah.
a business.
Hmm.
The breweries themselves might have a sense of community, but the community doesn't necessarily have a huge
Yeah.
buy back in with them. And we have over 25,000 nonprofits in Charlotte
Holy
area.
crap.
And yeah, registered. And so the number of charities that go to the breweries and they're like, we don't even drink ourselves, but we know some
Hmm.
of our people will, and we want something for them at our raffle or something for them at
Hmm.
this fundraiser or that fundraiser is a giveaway. And, like everybody's 21 for the event and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, pass this on the check. So our charity giving in the brewery community in Charlotte is
Hmm.
insane. And it's awesome. And a lot of our breweries will be sponsors at charity events,
Okay.
5Ks
Yeah.
and, whatnot. They'll host events
Hmm.
for free or for very low cost for organizations to come in and
Yeah.
do a fundraiser for their charity at the brewery.
Hmm.
And so it's a very philanthropic feel. And it's
That's so
also a
cool.
very nerdy feel because we have
Hmm.
so many different I mean, you can nerd out about anything.
Oh yeah.
Um, and we've got a discovery place, science center in Charlotte. We've got a children's museum, all in the downtown area, and all like they will do our discovery place science museum will
Mm,
do a adult night where it's 21 and up, and they have cocktails and they have beers and they have
okay.
kids from local breweries. And then you're walking around, playing playing on the science things that are,
Mm, mhm.
mostly for kids, but like kids at heart.
Yeah.
And so, Science on the Rocks is the name of it. And so it's
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
there you go.
Yeah.
And they actually do a homebrew thing once a year
Okay.
where they have the homebrew clubs come in and set up little demos and talk about brewing
That's
beer
so
and
cool,
whatnot because
man.
it's nothing but science. I mean, the
Yeah.
amount of engineers and tech people and science nerds that are in home brewing is
Mhm.
insane. Like
Mhm.
we're all nerds at heart.
Well, just doing the podcast alone, I want to say over half of them are all some sort of like engineer. The mechanical, chemical, whatever. They're also some sort of engineer, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, so my degree is in computer science. I don't know if we talked about that at all. So like, I don't consider myself an engineer by any means, but definitely have like an analytical ish brain. Like I try to think and solve problems and theory craft and all that kind of fun stuff. So again, some more nerdy things there for sure. But I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. We're going to get to like my
All right.
favorite part of this whole conversation. It's called the rapid fire round.
Boy.
So basically, the first thing that comes to mind, no overthinking, first answer. If you want to explain, go ahead. Everyone does anyways. Not a big deal. So the first one is if you could only have one. Oh no, excuse me. My bad. Let's try it again. Which one are you more proud of? Your Scottish Light or your pickle beer?
Oh. I will say probably the Scottish Light because I have rebrewed it like 10 times and it comes out. The ABV has ranged from 1.5 to 3.5, but the flavor of it has been consistent. So I'm very proud of that. Whereas the pickle beer, I was 1 for 3,
Okay.
maybe 1.5 for 3.
Okay.
So I think probably the Scottish.
Okay. There you go. That's a good answer right there. I love that. What I like to ask people if you had the option to get rid of a brewing trend, what would that be?
Brewing, not drinking.
Not drinking, yeah. So it could be a style, it could be an adjunct, it could be whatever.
Man, a brewing um so partly because I've been doing the beer education classes for so long, I don't really dislike any particular style. I do not like the macros. So the Bud Light, the Miller Lite, like I didn't drink beer in college because all my friends that were drinking drank that and it smelled awful. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna have an Amaretto sour if I'm gonna drink, but
Right,
really
yeah.
I prefer the Dr. Pepper because like that's actually good. Um, so I'm like, I don't think there's a style that I'd be like, "You're out." Um, and I don't think there's really any ingredient. I think the one thing that I would wanna kick as a trend
Mhm,
is maybe the trend of hyping stuff up and then hating on it.
mm.
If
Okay.
you hype it up and people like it, go for it. Like, don't hate on somebody for brewing something.
Mhm.
Hazy IPAs get a lot of shit for this.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I like a good hazy.
Yeah,
I'm drinking a hazy.
exactly, right? Yeah.
Um, I like a good West Coast. I like a
Okay.
good dank West Coast. Crystal clear. Make IPAs clear again as a one of our homebrewers has that shirt. One of our local breweries has those
Yeah.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a pretty common thing. But I'm okay with a hazy. I'm okay with, an oat beer or whatever. Like I
Mm,
like all of
mhm,
those things.
mhm.
Like I think there's value in all of those and there's so many different tastes that I think you need that variety so that people can find something that they like, and maybe that's their
Exactly.
gateway in, and then they
Mhm.
find out they like other stuff, and then they just grow with it. So I think the trend of hyping and then hating is what I would get rid of.
Okay, there you go. Is there something you'd like to see come back?
I don't think there are nearly enough, obviously Scottish lights, but of some of the more niche styles,
Mhm, mhm,
ESBs. We
mm,
have some
mhm.
great ESBs in the Charlotte and Asheville area. you don't really see them very often. Even when you
Yeah.
like, I travel and I'll always hit breweries. You don't see ESB as a common thing. You don't see saisons a ton. You don't see the Scottish Lights, the ice beers, we were talking about Stein beers with our clubs and the other week, and there's a lot of those niche styles that I don't think get enough recognition. And when you
Makes
do them,
sense.
they're done well.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
you're doing them because you want that beer. You're not doing it just to throw it away. Like it's not just oh, no hate on anybody, but, like, a lot of people are like, "Hey, I just need to have, like, 3 hazies and a clear West Coast IPA, so I'm gonna
Mm,
just kinda, just
yeah.
throw 'em on there," and
Mhm,
you're putting your time into it, but, like, you're gonna be more intentional whether you're doing it for your local home as a brewery, you're gonna do it more intentional if it's a niche style because you want it
mhm,
to catch on.
mhm.
The more
That's a
popular
solid
ones
answer.
are already
Yeah,
there, so, yeah, there's
exactly. Solid answer, I like that one. What's your favorite beer glass?
Oh. So, actually, my favorite beer glass is a taster.
Okay,
Because I prefer to do a flight of beers, and I prefer if I'm gonna drink, I like doing small amounts of something so that, like you, I can try a couple different ones. So I would have to say a flight glass.
I like that, that's a good one. I had one give me the answer of, like because I can't tell you a glass, but I can tell you a company, so he told me the company that he likes. I was like, "Okay, that works."
Was it Libby?
No, it's, Pretentious out of
Oh,
Knoxville,
yes, yes.
Tennessee. Yeah, so, he
No,
really
they're
likes
good.
those. Um, let's see, the other question I have on here, and sadly I kinda skipped those questions, I do apologize, but, your kegging curse, is it getting better or is it getting worse?
Worse.
Getting worse.
Okay. Do we need to do more speed round and then we can come back to that, or do you wanna go into that one now?
Let's do a couple more, and then we'll come back
Okay.
to that. Alright, so your possessed, brew kettle, are you gonna perform an exorcism, or are you gonna keep it?
So I've kept it.
You kept it, alright.
It's the main one I use for stovetop brewing.
Okay,
So, very quick answer. The possession, I bought it from my local homebrew shop
okay,
in the box, brand new.
alright.
I had other people look at it,
Uh-huh.
help me assemble it. We were doing a big brew day. So I bought it. I had everything else, and I was like, I knew I needed to buy the kettle. I'm gonna just buy it there, and then I don't have to worry about lugging it back and forth.
Yeah.
A couple of my homebrew guys helped me put it together, assemble all the pieces. And these guys have been assembling stuff. They're engineers. They've been assembling stuff. I have every faith in them. It worked fine on the burner.
Mhm.
It worked fine. I had witnesses. It was perfectly fine. Nothing abnormal about this thing. I get home, clean it. Couple weeks later, I'm like, I'm going to do an extract on the stove. Perfect. It fits just under the microwave above the stove. So it's a perfect height. It's a good size. It's skinny, but it's a good size.
Yeah.
I fill it up with water. I turn the burner on. And I go and I'm like, I've got to wait till the water heats up. Like there's nothing in there. It's just water. I'm going to go sit and watch an episode of TV. All of a sudden, I hear,
Okay, yeah.
right? And like in stereo. And I'm like, is somebody in my house? Like, what is, and I'm like on the couch, like looking up, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, it is rickety. It sounds like a rickety roller coaster.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't do roller coasters. So I was already like, all right, this is a little suspect. What's going on in the house?
yeah.
Um, I get up and I go over and it's doing this on, and I had a flat top stove. It's doing this. It's doing this. This isn't just a noise. This is what it was actually doing.
Yeah, Rocky Microphone, yeah,
Rocking back and forth. But it's got 5 gallons of water in it, 6 gallons of water in it, whatever it was.
yeah.
It's a big thing. Why is it doing that?
Mm,
There should be enough weight in there and mass in there of water. It shouldn't be able to do that. It is, I mean, it was going up about a half inch
mm,
on either side. And I'm like, it's a flat
mm.
top stove. What
Yeah.
is happening? So I got my little, one step stool and I sat there and I just stared at it, just making sure it didn't fall off the stove. Then when I say the second that I added just the grain bag for steeping, It was it didn't move. It didn't move again. So, I've done it 3, 4 times, and then I actually did it at my brew session because I had, in my new house, hosted a brew session. I had, like, 35 people there. I had taken a video of it as proof, like, and asked, "Is this possessed? Like, what do I need to do here?" So everybody knew about it. And I put it on and I'm like, "Oh, you guys had questions about the possession? Be prepared to watch." Everybody's up there like, "Oh my god." It was the most fascinating thing for everybody because 'cause they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, watch this." And I went to put my steaming grains in, and it literally just it just stopped, and it just was like, "This is how a pot's supposed to behave. It's not doing anything."
Yes, yeah.
And it was so funny, and I'm like, "You are all my witnesses. This shit is real. It is possessed." But, I mean, it still works fine. I'm just like it works better on a propane burner than it does on a stovetop. But I'm like, "You know what? Now I know it's not gonna go flying off the stove." I just let it sit and do its thing, and I just go watch an episode and just turn it up loud.
Yeah. So that's
It was the
hilarious.
wildest it scared the absolute living bejesus out of me
It's
the
almost like
first
a
time.
Little Shop of Horrors kinda thing, right?
It really was, and I'm just like, what did I buy? Like, what did that other like store sell me? Like, what the heck?
That's kinda hilarious. That's crazy, yeah. You have
It
to
was
send me that
it
video one of these days. I'll have to check that out if you can
I
freaky.
will send it to you.
Alright, there you go. Let's see, what else do I have for you? Oh, yeah. Favorite hard rock or metal group?
Mm. Okay, now that's like asking me my favorite brewery in Charlotte or my favorite beer.
Fair enough.
Um,
Give me your
it's
top
kinda
3.
like yeah, so I listen to most music. Just to so I like all the different types. I like punk rock, I like alt rock, I like hard rock, I like heavy metal, I like the death metal, like I like all of them. Um, just to make it a little bit easier, I will say my 3 favorite bands that I have seen live.
Okay. There you go.
One of them is Avatar.
Okay.
Um, they're out of, oh god, Sweden? Um, and my friend who got me into magic is a huge Avatar fan. We've gone to a bunch of shows together. She's gone to a bunch extra. Um, she actually dressed up and cosplayed as the lead singer Johannes, and she nailed it. And he actually had before all of the ex Twitter stuff. She had posted it on there, and he had actually retweeted it. Um,
That's cool, yeah.
so really cool. But they are one of the most fun bands to see live.
Okay.
Um, and I will say probably another favorite is Fear Factory.
Okay.
I got into metal when I was 19 on accident, and they were one of the first bands that I saw with my best friend, from college who got me into metal. She
Mhm.
literally walked up to me. We were waiting tables together for our jobs, and she walked up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go to a concert on Friday?" And it was like Wednesday, and I was like, "Sure." And she's like, "Do you not want to know who it is first?" I'm like, "Don't care. Let's just go to live music." And I want to say it was Devil Driver.
Okay.
Um, and it was, an older metal band, and we ended up seeing we used to go to, 30 different shows a year together because 'cause there'd be, 10 or 15 bucks at the local
Oh,
place, and
fair enough.
we saw some amazing bands, but, we saw Typo Negative, we saw Fear Factory, Lamb of God, all of them. So Fear Factory is probably still up on my list just from the nostalgia piece of it, and I love their records. And then probably the 3rd, kind of a toss between I Prevail and, The Who.
Okay. There you go,
I've
yeah.
seen a lot of bands. I used to go to Carolina Rebellion in Charlotte, and it was, 15 minutes from where I used to live.
Yeah.
I've seen hundreds of bands, so,
Yeah.
that is nowhere near the full scope, but, I mean, I think I've seen Lamb of God and Fear Factory each, 10 times. I think I've seen Avatar,
Well, there you go,
6.
yeah. That's awesome.
Um, I've seen so many of them, and, we The Who is next level. Most of them have their masters in music.
Mhm.
They have, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. They had Brian from I Prevail. They've had, so many different lead singers from really good
Yeah.
metal and hard rock bands just come in and do stuff with them, and they just seeing them live is just amazing.
That's
I like music,
awesome.
obviously.
There you go, that's awesome, yeah. Yeah, I've been to a concert in a while. It's actually been a long while. I think last concert I went to was Music as a Weapon tour. I had, Korn.
You know, they're fun.
Disturbed, In This Moment. I think one
Love in
other
this moment.
one. I don't blank right now, but that was a long time. That was probably 15 years ago. The one I wanted to go see was Volbeat, and they had to cancel because it was just right during the pandemic.
Oh,
So,
they're so fun live.
yeah,
Volbeat,
yeah,
they just have this energy. Like
yeah.
if you get a chance, you gotta see
I do
them.
want to see them. I enjoyed. There's probably nothing they've done that I've not enjoyed yet. I've enjoyed all the records. So, and I found them by accident. I don't even know how I found them. It was just one thing. I was just like on YouTube, and I was programmer somewhere, just have YouTube playing in the background, and it got to Radio Girl, I think is the name of the song. I'm like, this sounds kind of interesting. And then I started kind of going down that rabbit hole, and I've been kind of following them ever since. Anyways, I digress. Let's
No.
get to the kegging curse story. Let's see where this one's going to lead us to.
Okay, so as a disclaimer, I started bottling because I was doing those events once a year. Bottling, I would be brewing with other people, and I wouldn't necessarily be the one doing the bottle kegging. Um, we used to do an event actually in Charlotte through the AHA called the AHA rally. And in Charlotte, it had a different format in different cities, but our format was Nota Brewing Company would host it, and they would provide a kit to each of the local homebrew clubs. And it would actually be two kits. There would be an IPA, and you would do, I think it was Magnum was the bittering hop for everybody, and then you did 4 editions of a single hop, and
Okay.
everybody had a different hop.
All right.
And then you would do a wit beer, and you had a spice. Everybody had the exact same ingredients, except for one spice was different for everybody. So it was really a showcase. It was a hop and a spice showcase. And you had to keg for that event. And so the first time I had to keg was for that event. So I was like, "Hey friends, I just bottle. I would like some tutelage. Can
Uh-huh.
somebody please show me how to keg? If I need to, pay for a CO2 tank or whatever, like I don't need the equipment, but just like let me reimburse you for your time and your equipment rental, and then help me, for the love of God, be able to keg these 2 beers." So I would brew the beers
Uh-huh.
on behalf of the beer babes as one of the homebrew clubs that would come in because they just wanted more clubs
Right.
to be able to participate. And they would go out a little bit wider. So it was really fun event. It was great. But when I say like something went wrong every single time I have touched a keg, to the point that for club night, I refused to touch the kegs other
uh,
than just lifting them after they'd been disconnected. I didn't touch the hoses. I didn't touch the kegs while they were connected. I would grab somebody else from my club, which luckily there were like 25 of us, and I would be like, "You need to come touch this. I'm not touching it. I'm not cursing anybody." And everybody understands, so they would just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, please don't." And then they would come over and do whatever. I have kegged by myself. I have kegged with people. I have luckily never had the same thing go wrong twice.
that's interesting.
But I have had a different thing go wrong or more things than just one
Mm-hmm.
every single time I've touched a keg. Um, Bottling for me is very easy. It's also not frustrating.
Okay.
Um, I've been doing it for long enough at this point, 12 years. Um, I know it. I have it down. I have a whole like
Mm-hmm.
boom, 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 boom. I'm good.
Uh-huh.
I kegged 2 beers and I had borrowed equipment from friends
Uh-huh.
that had just used it for themselves. And this was my final straw of I will give somebody my beer to keg, but I will never keg again at this point. Because they checked everything before they gave it to me. Everything was working fine. I get it home to my house. I'm in my townhome. It's 2 stories. My second bedroom upstairs bathroom was my brew space.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would ferment it, like leave everything in the bathtub. Like nobody was really ever in that room. I would, it was a tile linoleum floor, so it was easy to clean up a spill.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to leave stuff there overnight, it's not a problem. It's if something, if I need a blow off tube, I realize that, oops, after the fact, like it's not a problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm in this room for 4 hours to keg 2 beers.
Wow.
I was dripping sweat. It wasn't even hot out. I am dripping sweat. I am contorting. I am looking up so many YouTube videos of what's going on. My friends that I had borrowed the stuff from were on a trip. I'm
Mm,
like calling them on speaker, trying to figure out and troubleshoot all this. I called 3 different people. I posted on Facebook what was going wrong. One of my friends who's a professional brewer is like, "Give me a call. We're gonna work through this." We
mhm.
did not work through it. And at one point he just goes, "What the hell did you do? Like,
Right.
why is this stuff not working?" One of the first times I kegged, where I was doing the kegging supervised, I literally am in my friend's house. He's walking me through all the steps. There were 2 of us. He walked her through the steps. Everything came out right. He walks me through the steps at the same time. I'm literally doing every step under his supervision at the same time as the other friend. Everything's done right. We get to the end and he's like, "Why did that not work?" Like, "I just watched you. You did everything correct. You didn't shake anything extra. You
Mhm.
literally did nothing wrong." We get to the end. Why did it not work? Why is there no carbonation in here? Like, there's no CO2 coming in. Like, what in the world? He goes and he redoes everything and it works. And he looks at me and he's like, "I think you're cursed." Because at this point I've been like 5 or 6. And I was like, "I promise you, I will give you the kegs." I had bought kegs at that point. I was like, "I will give you my kegs if you promise for the AHA rally that you will keg my beers for the next 2 years." And he was like, "You'll give me 4 kegs if I just keg your beers for 2." Yeah, done. So I gave him 4 basically brand new kegs and he was like, he kegged the next 2 years and I was like, we're good." Like, I am cursed. The 4-hour thing, it was the regulator had an issue, and one of the kegs had a slow leak that was not there when I picked it up from their house, like, 6 hours prior, and
Right.
just drove it home and just moved it up to the Badger.
That's
Like,
crazy.
and it was and so I did finally get it, but it was it was it was the whole thing. And then the next week and I bottled 2 other beers, like,
Mhm.
the 2 kegs were for an event, that I bottled 2 other beers that I had made as well, and to bottle 2 beers total, including the time to do the liquid and cool it down,
Mhm.
was 2.5 hours.
Versus
And
4
I'm
hours
like,
wrestling with it.
the math on that ain't
Yep.
checking out in the favor of kegging.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
my
not.
entire homebrew club thinks it's hysterical, and they're like, "We can fix you." And I'm like, "Baby, no, you can't." Like, I promise everybody has tried.
Yeah.
I'm not it's a curse, and we're just gonna accept it at this point.
Yeah, that sucks, yeah.
But
My
something different has gone wrong every time.
my buddy Ryan, he called me up. He switched over to kegging, maybe 5, 6 months ago, and his wouldn't carb. Like, the gas was on, he could hear the gas, but they would not carb. Well, like, "Well, what's the temperature of your keezer?" Because he built the keezer. I mean, it was just do warmer water. It was like, it's like 38 degrees or something like that. So, well, it should be doing just fine. Just let it sit for 24 hours and go back to it. He lets it sit for 24 hours, still nothing. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, I'm not there to really look at, but it took like, I think it was a month for it to carb. He
Mhm,
never really figured out what happened or why it took so long. I was like, shouldn't take a month. This should be relatively quick because he was even doing like 20 or 30 psi. So he's trying to do a quick carb. Like, yeah,
mhm.
I don't know. That's so weird. The only thing I think I even had him spray like star sands
Yes,
to
yes,
see if
Sam,
there
to
was any
make sure
leaks.
there's a leak.
There
Yep.
was no leaks. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know what's going on, buddy. So yeah, so maybe your juju went to him by accident. He just didn't realize it.
I'm sorry, friend. I'm so sorry, friend. I'm so sorry. I didn't do it on purpose.
That's
But
hilarious
yeah, I
though.
mean, it's a joke in the club, and so they actually did just a one of our so we do an education session in all of our homebrew club meetings at the end of our meeting before our homebrew share. And our VP of education decided to do a kegging one the other day, and I was like, "Are you trying to tell me something?" And he's like, "No, actually, other people asked for it." And I said, "Did they ask for it for me?" And then
Yes.
he was like, "No, actually, it's for them. They're trying to move from bottling to kegging." And I was like, "Are we sure?" Because like, it's funny to me, but like at this point, if somebody says kegging, I say not it.
Yeah, not
Like,
and I mean, I'm gonna do this time.
unless somebody wants to come, I will bring you my beer
Okay.
if you want to keg it.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not touching your keg. I am not cursing your keg.
Yeah. Just an off chance. That's funny. All right. Let's see.
It's so ridiculous. Like, why? Why? What did I do to you,
Right?
Kegs? What did
Oh
I do to you?
man.
I never kicked you. What did
Yes.
you what did I do to you?
All right, Bethany, we're at the wrapping up point here. So, where can people find and follow you at?
So, for me, it's
Mhm.
all just my name, Bethany Burr. So I'm
Okay.
on X, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Spoutable. It's all my name. And
Wow.
then,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm real creative. Um, for Carolina Brewmasters, we have carolinabrewmasters.com is
Okay.
our website. And then it's Carolina Brew Mass. So MAS, you leave off the TERS at
Mhm.
the end, on all the social medias. And then, for Charlotte Beer Babes, it's CLT Beer Babes on pretty much everything. And then we've got a Facebook group, we've got a Facebook page, and then we've got all of the socials as well. And then we also have a website, which is cltbeerbabes.com.
Well, that's really cool.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so all of the social
There
medias.
you go.
So,
Is
but
there a
this is so much
recipe?
fun.
Thank you. Yeah. Is there a
So
recipe you would like to share with the audience? If so, you can send it to me. So what I have, I have like a Google Drive. I've just been throwing people's like recipes up there. I can't tell you how often people are visiting it, but if not, at least I have a bunch of recipes. Anyways,
exactly. So, a question for you,
yeah,
because a couple of
answer.
my favorite recipes I've made have been the Scottish Light,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did a honey ginger red ale.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I've another one that I really like that I've done is a cocoa nib and oat pale ale.
Okay.
With all mandarina hops, so it's got that kind of orange chocolate, like
Mm-hmm.
creamy,
Yeah.
but there's no actual orange in it. It's just mandarina hops. So, is any of those ones that you would like?
Oh, they sound anyone you want to share that they sound awesome,
I mean, I'll
phenomenal.
send you
Yeah.
all three of them if you want.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Not a
Yeah.
big deal with me. Last question. If there's anybody that you could think of that would like to participate into this podcast, you could either tell them about me or send them my email or cold email me with both of me with both of us on there. I'd appreciate that.
Oh,
I guess
absolutely.
not really a question, more of a statement, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Is there
Tomato, tomato.
anything topic wise that you're really wanting to talk to somebody about that you just can't find somebody for?
So, yeah, so right now it's basically just homebrewers I've been kind of talking to, but I definitely want to get into, I want to start talking to malt people. I want to start talking to hop people. I would definitely want to talk to like professors of fermentation science, authors, so on and so forth. I have one person I'm talking to right now talking about fermentation and religion. So that's one topic I definitely kind of want to get into. He's going to take the Catholic side because I grew up Catholic and he's Catholic. He actually is a head brewer at St. Benedict's. I'm going to give that a shout out in Southern Indiana. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
also you're a Catholic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Did
If you can
you
think of any, just send me a list or whatever, or however you want to kind of do. We can do this offline even too. So it's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
so from HomebrewCon actually, did you see any of the water talk on Saturday morning? The water chemistry?
I don't think so. I think I might miss that one.
So the company was actually at the expo, but
Award.
they uh yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, but they actually did the Saturday morning water chemistry, and they had their sales guy and their HR guy who was
Hmm.
one of the guys, and he actually did a really good job on the speaking, which is not necessarily what you think of from a homebrew perspective when
Right.
you have a company's HR person come in.
Hmm.
But he did a great job, and then their second person is actually a PhD in water
Hmm.
chemistry, and he was fantastic. Um, and I got his information put down,
Okay.
so I'll send it over to
Yeah.
you. And
Wow.
um, the it wasn't Fermentus, it was the other yeast company that was there, and I'm drawing a blank right now.
The Y East.
No,
Y Labs.
nope, French company.
Is it the Lululemon?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Lallemand and Fermentus were both there, and I got the contact information for both of
Okay. Yeah.
them. But they did Lallemand did a great presentation, and
Mm.
he's French, and I just sit next to Dennis for that presentation, and French is his first language, so English is not his first language. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's his second or his third. But he did such a great conversation and great presentation on that, and you could tell he was having to think through some of the, especially the Q&A part,
Mm.
how to translate and frame it correctly to get his entire message. And I looked at Dennis and I was like, "Okay, he did this amazing in English. Can you imagine how good this would be in French?"
Hmm. Right.
And
Yeah.
he was super sweet, but he did a great, like, everybody was just locked in, which you don't usually get
Yeah.
when you're talking that nerdy about something that people aren't necessarily able to get into, and then to have it be somebody who's a non-native speaker like that, it was phenomenal. But I'll
Awesome.
give you all 3 of their
Okay.
information.
Well, that's awesome. Appreciate it,
Yeah,
Bethany. That's awesome.
absolutely.
So I think on that note, I think we're gonna wrap things up. I had a pleasure
Beautiful.
chit chatting with you. Maybe we can do it again in the
Yes, man.
future.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But and now we know that the laptop works, so we
Yes,
were
exactly.
a little concerned about that, but, appreciate, my tardiness since
That's
my
fine.
job went a little over today, but, thank you so much for the flexibility, and I had so much
Yeah.
fun. And
Yes.
thanks everybody for listening.
Yep. Okay. We'll see you.
Alright, have a good one.